think this is working. I think we're on. Are we on? Here? Are we around? Can people hear me? See me? I hope so. How's my audio? I hope it's good. Okay, so I'm going live a little early, just like 5 minutes, 10 minutes early today, because I have a little bit of an announcement I wanna make to you. Okay? There has been an update in my content. I would like to share it with you. So on YouTube, specifically, we now have memberships. Hooray! So if you want to support me, there's just one more way to support me. You go to the YouTube channel. If you, there should be like a join button now, I think they informed me. And you can become a member or gift memberships there. Should work, should be fine. But yeah, thanks for all your support, gang. It's been a great year. We've grown so much, done so much together. It's been fun, been good. Tonight we are going to be talking to 𝕵𝖎. He has been trying to set this up for about a month now, where he's really wanted me to have him on because he has some issues he wants to address with me. He has things he wants to tell me about and talk about. And you know what? I'm going to give him this chance. Give him a couple hours and let him see what he has to say. Hopefully he gets here soon. If he doesn't show, it's going to we aren't going to try this again. I am doing this out of the goodness of my heart, because it might be interesting. But yeah, you don't no-show me twice. He no-showed me before. He had something come up. Well, it's not a no-show. He came on, he said, something's gone wrong with my internet, something's not working right, we'll have to do this another day. Which isn't a no-show, but it's still annoying. But if we just don't show up, that's going to be a problem, right? That will be an issue, because I need content, I need things to do. Gang, how did you enjoy last night? Do y'all, everyone enjoy the watch party thing? Do you like those longer streams? Did you enjoy me having different people on to talk about the Republican debates? You guys like that? You have fun? You did. Hello, 𝕾𝖎𝖎. Jenny Burns, always a pleasure. Conserve liberalism. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Nice to meet you. Man, I don't know if I could do those long streams all the time though. It's too much. I was live for about, let's see, from about 6 o'clock to after midnight. 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. So about 7 hours. I know that's not like terribly much, but for me it's a lot. I usually stick to 2 or 3 hours. I like segments, right? Like shows rather than a stream. Though sometimes, on occasion, I think it's okay to do the longer. Who are we making fun of, Cernus? Also welcome. Who are we making fun of today? Someone who is not here. Well, we could make fun of 𝕵𝖎, who is not here. That's something we can do. My schedule only allows me to ship post in here for 30 minutes or so I missed a long stream. What were your takeaways from the debate? Well, I think that from a conservative lens, if I'm looking at this from a Republican stance, which is, I think, how you should look at this, due to the fact that this is a Republican primary, Vivek did what he needed to do. He was the talk of the town. He is the one that is going to have a lot of momentum coming out of this. And I think he has really tapped into kind of the Trump mentality, the MAGA mentality. So, with the very real possibility that Trump won't be eligible to run in 2024, though that's far from certain, I think that that's probably kind of a wise bet. I don't think anyone can beat Trump in the primary. If Trump is able to run, Trump wins, hands down. But when it comes to if for whatever reason he is unable to run, I think Vivek gets it. I think Vivek gets the nod. DeSantis, this was his last best chance to kind of stop the bleeding, break out, reestablish himself as the choice. I don't think he was able to do that. Nikki Haley had a good night. I think that she performed well. However, Vivek just overshadowed her. Now, Nikki Haley gave the best takes, I think, that she had the most, she was willing to tell it like it is, straight talker, straight shooter kind of deal. And as a left-leaning individual, I think out of the whole pack, he was probably the strongest rhetorician. But that's me being left-leaning, you understand. That's me being left-leaning. Ellen Degenerate says, Vivek will never win because he's brown. That's cap. I don't think you guys understand, okay? You guys do not understand this. And Third Rail with Omar says, Republicans are not going to elect an Indian. You say this, but I don't think you understand how much Republicans do not like Democrats. They are willing to put aside all their racism if it means beating the libs, owning the libs. Their racism is a secondary characteristic to their hatred for Democrats. So if they believe that Vivek is going to be the MAGA torchbearer going forward, and he is the Trump 2.0, they will vote for him. They will hold their nose and put that ballot in, those racists, if you will. And let's be clear, not all Republicans are even racist. Most of them aren't. Most of them will just vote for whoever. Race doesn't matter to them. But, you know, that's my opinion based on my interactions with Republicans. Leviticus says, fuck that. Vivek is a true American. All you people in this chat should take notes. He's a grifter. Let's be clear. Look, the man, I don't know. Okay, grifter maybe is the wrong word. There is something disingenuous about him, though. Like, he just feels like a salesman. That said, I don't think that matters at the end of the day, because they're all salesmen. Politicians are supposed to be salesmen in a way. So, you know, who knows? Let's see. Henry Tapp. Vivek will never win because he's brown and a conservative, not a cap. That's why they demonize their Hispanic base, even when most Hispanics align with conservative values. Most Hispanics vote conservative. And I promise you, if you... Well, again, I think we're just getting high on our own supply on this. I think that we have a caricature of the Republican voter in our head. And while certainly there is a segment that won't vote for him, it's not big enough to fucking matter at the end of the day. And again, all of this is beside the point because I think Trump's going to run anyway. Most Hispanics do not vote conservative. Most don't vote at all. There is a sizable minority of Hispanics who do vote conservative, however. This is a growing portion of the electorate as well. Like it or not, Trump got more minority voters than Republicans have in many, many decades. So I don't know what to tell you. Origin is not here. This is a problem. Yo, if you are in my DMs almost daily, okay? If you are constantly tagging me in my Discord, please have me on. Let me on. I got issues with you. Let's have our talk. Let's have our discussion. Yo, and you're late to your discussion? That's a black mark, sir. Black mark on your record. And if you don't show at all, if he ends up not showing up, I don't know what to tell you. This is it. This is his chance. Origin, my guest today, Origin of Language, who is supposed to be here. Now, maybe he is just like, yeah, I'm gonna give him time. We're gonna talk for a little bit. And it's good. This is good anyway. This is good anyway, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the debate, just one-on-one with you. I think it's hard to have these actual discussions or actually productive discussions when there's pop-ons and pop-offs, a panel, things like that. I think panels are useful for kind of surface level takeaways, immediate reactions, kind of getting a feel for the room, if you will, feel for how people observe things or talk about an issue, etc. But when it comes to in-depth, solo or duo is probably best. If he doesn't show, can I demolish this idiot on your stream? Which idiot specifically? There's a lot of idiots that I hang out with. I'm an idiot on occasion. So which idiot are we talking about? Bobby Johnson, you have to ban him if he doesn't come? That's not... I won't ban him. I just probably won't schedule him for a while. You got vaccine for flu and pneumonia vaccine, feeling like shit? Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Third Rail. Sorry to hear that, Omar. Sorry you're not feeling well. Okay, since more of you are here now, I'll announce it again. YouTube, we have memberships now, so you can support me with a YouTube membership. Become a Whicker, an official Whicker, by becoming a YouTube member. That button should be available. You should be able to click it, and yeah, we'll see. Dataless Media, Norichin. Yeah, he's not here, gang. But it's still 6:03. People are late. This is how maybe he's on streamer time right now. I don't know. I'm hoping he shows. I really want to hear what he has to say. Yeah, we'll see. 𝕍𝖎, is this the same guy who couldn't fix his audio last time, made it into a call-in show? Yes, this is. Same gentleman. We'll see. Uh-oh, indeed. Uh-oh, indeed. It might be a short stream today, gang. Might be a short stream today. I don't know. Maybe we'll do call-ins. You guys want to do call-ins? Again, we'll give him till... What do you think, gang? 6:10? 6:15? What's a fair time frame here? Quarter after 6:15? Okay, that's what we'll do. 6:15. We'll give him to 6:15, and then if he ain't here by 6:15, we're just gonna pull chocks, get out. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he's had a horrific accident and he's struggling to get here. I don't know. But while we wait, you need to entertain us. I'm going to try to entertain you. Okay? So I think that the biggest takeaway from the debate is how many leftists still do not understand in a fundamental level the Republican mind and what conservatives want. I think that we heard very clear, plain as day, from the conservatives on my panel last night, who they thought did well, who they thought did poorly. I think that there's a lot of cap going on with leftists who are unable to put themselves in Republican shoes, saying Nikki Haley did the best, Nikki Haley won. She did well, by all means. But when it comes to what the primary voters in the Republican Party want, Vivek nailed it. Vivek nailed it straight away. And if you think that him being Indian is going to stop them from voting for him, you're wrong. You're just wrong. You've sniffed, too many drugs. You've huffed too much copium, right? You have believed your caricatures of the Republican Party. It's just not true. Like, they will be racist in other ways. They won't live next to the guy. They won't let him date their daughters, but they'll vote for him if it means owning the libs. Like, you can't understand. Like, people have this silly idea of what racism is, okay? That if you're a racist, you just hate brown people, and you won't have anything to do with them. You think they're terrible people. That's just not how it works, for the most part. There's obviously exceptions to this. We can point to certain individuals who that absolutely is the case for. But for most people, that's just not how it works. They think, well, they just have these kind of implicit biases that they just buy into. And they think, well, you know what? They have their place. They can be in society. They can work with us, and we can work with them. And, we'll interact with them. But we just won't invite them to our barbecue, right? Separate but equal kind of deal. They're over there doing their thing. We're over here doing our thing. And this does not preclude them from voting for them. Like, yo, they're with us. They're on our team. He's one of the good ones. Let's vote for him. Let's get him. It'll help our cause. That's how they think. Okay. That's the majority of them. Again, I just do not think that we are able to really comprehend on a fundamental level what the conservative voters want, because we keep being surprised. We keep being shocked. We were shocked in 2016. We were shocked. Like, we keep being shocked that he gets so much support. We keep being shocked that they are, and we make these excuses like they're cultists and they're in this like they're being brainwashed. And while that's true for some, I won't deny it. For most of them, it's just a simple cost-benefit analysis in their heads. They do not want Democrats in office because they have their own caricatures. The right has its own caricatures of what a Democrat is. That is equally fallacious, that is equally silly, that is equally dumb. They have their own thoughts of what a Democrat voter looks like and what a Democrat voter wants. They keep making caricatures like, oh, Democrats just want abortion on demand. Democrats just want to trans your kids. Democrats, they want to destroy the family and things like that. Most Democrats don't want that. Most Democrats don't want that. Most Democrats are religious. Most Democrat voters have some form of religion. They're, progressive Christian, etc. Most Democrats in America, I'm talking American politics, okay? I'm talking American politics. So, and most aren't really, they want abortion to be safe, but legal, but rare. Safe, legal, rare. That's what they want abortion to be. Like, most Democratic voters aren't zealots, okay? And the Republicans have this idea in their head of what a Democratic voter is that is just so far removed from reality. They get shocked when we keep voting for people that they consider like these terrible monsters. It's a very human thing to not be able to identify with someone who thinks differently with you. And I think that's a flaw. I think that people need to be able to put themselves and really have empathy. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what empathy is. It's the ability to put yourself in the shoes of another human being who thinks differently from you, who maybe even thinks you think is evil, right? That you think is wrong, and be able to understand why and how they operate, and to be able to identify with them. I think that, again, we cast off and we believe our own caricatures. We believe our own propaganda at our peril. At our peril. I don't know where Origin is. Fuck. We got 5 more minutes. Origin, come. Where are you? What is going on? Yo, what is this shit? I'm kind of mad now, actually. Kind of mad now. I have content that I want to do, that I have planned, okay? Look, I could have planned something for today other than this. I could have planned something. I could have had a panel. People love my panels. I get more viewers when I have a panel, okay? I get more viewers when I have a panel. I get more engagement when I have like something planned. So, I was doing Origin a favor because he had issues with me. He wanted to talk to me, but he was being very vague, very. It might have been content. I don't know. It was a risk, but you know what? Why not? Let's go. Let's put him in. Let's have this discussion. We'll see. Maybe it'll be great. Because you know what else? People like when people yell at me. I don't know why, but my audience likes that. My audience likes when the people come to scold me. So I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's have Origin in. And we'll make a show of it, right? And it might have been easy because again, I had a big stream yesterday. And tomorrow is a planned stream. And so I thought, you know what? We're going to do just something simple today. I don't know. We'll go. Got 3 more minutes, gang. 3 more minutes. 𝕼𝖎, WhickTV, I swear you do not deserve to be left hanging by these philosophy bros who can't manage time and tech. Praying nothing bad happened, of course. Well, yeah, like, no, look, I'll feel super bad if it turns out he was in a car wreck or something, or he's in the hospital, or, you know, they find his body in several pieces scattered across America. I will feel really bad. Super bad. But, yo, just host a pop-on panel, my guy, get your back. Maybe. Whoa, like, maybe we'll do we could do a impromptu President Sunday thing if you guys wanted, or we could do an impromptu call-in if you wanted. What do you guys want? Okay, one's in chat if you want impromptu kind of Sunday, okay, impromptu President Sunday thing. Two's in chat, okay. Two's in chat if you want a pop-on panel where I just invite people and we just have a discussion, right? Three's in chat if you just want to call and show. Okay. Three's in chat if you just want to call and show. Okay. So you guys get to decide. You, my audience, will get to decide what you want. No, two pop-on panel is like not a. It's like I'll have 5 or 6 people on and we'll argue about something. The call-in show is I'll just bring callers in 1s and 2s. You need an official poll? Fuck it. Okay, I'll make an official poll. Let's do it. This is on Twitch, gang. So YouTube, I'll take your votes into account too, but give me a sec. Should we do? Okay, Sunday. And we'll have panel. Surprise panel, because it's a surprise to me. Or we could do call-ins. Give 5 minutes. So I guess we're giving Origin a little extra time. Okay, here. So there's a poll. Vote in the poll. Tell me what you want. Let me know what you want. Right. Vote in the poll because I want to know what you want to do. Sunday's the one that DM'd me. Have I asked him? He asked me. He DM'd me. He said, if Origin doesn't show, you want to do an impromptu Sunday thing? I was like, oh, sure, why not? But I want to know what my audience wants, right? So, yeah, that's why I'm putting it to a vote. Yeah, Tenflix, he didn't show. Origin no-showed me. He didn't even tell me he wasn't gonna show. That's so bullshit. That's some bullshit. Okay, so we got 3 votes for Sunday and 2 votes for panel in the YouTube. We'll add to the total here. Let's see who's winning. Collins actually are winning. If it's a tie, I'll just pick which one, right? Actually, no. With the YouTube votes, panel's winning. With the YouTube's votes, panel's winning. Okay. So, again, get your votes in. Okay, more votes for panel. Henry, you can't vote twice. Fuck it. I gotta keep an eye on y'all, right? On YouTube. You guys are being sneaky. Being sneaky. Cormac McCarthy with Sunday. $2. Money for my vote to supersede everything. Option 2. A panel with Sunday? Yeah, if we have a panel, Sunday could come on and he'd be invited. What would we have a panel on? Because it looks like panels are probably going to win. Well, we got 2 more minutes on the vote, right? We got 2 more minutes on the poll, and there's a poll in Twitch chat. Okay, so we're waiting. I'm manually adding the YouTube votes. So what song am I checking out? Oh, the I Didn't Run song? Yeah, I heard that song. Sulfur. That was a good song. But Origin Edition? Oh, Ellen DeGeneres hot chomping at the bit for a panel. Okay. Gang, okay. So if someone drops someone can steal the vote if you drop enough money. I don't know how much money I'd choose. What do you think's fair amount? Just choose content. $50? A roast of Origin? I don't know him well enough to roast him, guys. I would be very bad at that. I would be very bad at roasting Origin because I don't know him enough to roast him. I'm not well versed enough. Come on for that. By all means. To know the topic. I'm just DMing people. I can fight you a little about your RP takes if you like. Noted. Okay. Whick, how many outfits do you have for the week? So I have a streamer uniform that this is for the more official stuff. Like last night, I wore my collar shirt. I have a hoodie when it's the winter time that I like to wear all the time. But I wear actual other clothes during the day. Like I change specifically into my streamer garb for my streamer show. So you guys can all recognize me like just off the rip, right? Okay. Surprise panel gets it with 11 votes. Sunday has 6 votes and Collins have 5. So that's what we're looking at doing. So surprise panel. The surprise panel, gang. Surprise panel wins. Hooray. I guess if you want on this surprise panel, jump backstage. Jump backstage to Discord. And we'll do this. 30 more minutes for Origin. I'm not going to wait 30 more minutes for Origin. I'm not going to do it. Sorry. Not happening. Not okay. So yeah, we can have a panel. Sir Leviticus, do you want to fight Ellen DeGeneres on my stream? And we can build the panel around y'all's debate here. If you want. Come on in. There's a Discord link. Come on in, I'll pull you on. I don't even know. They've been yelling at each other in chat. And why yell at each other in chat when you can yell at each other on my stream and make money for me? Yeah. To be clear, you won't make money. I'll make money. But I would love to exploit you. So please let me do so. Sunday versus Sulfur. I don't think either of them want that, to be clear. But let's bring on the 2 people waiting backstage. Hello. Y'all got cameras for us?
Sure do, Whick.
Beautiful.
Hi.
Nice.
I'm a little bit messy today, but
So am I.
Okay. Why do you got boots in your boots on your chair there?
Oh.
hello.
Fungus just has boots on his chair.
Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, Boots in chat is making a surprise showing through my camera.
Fair enough.
It's a pharmacy, yeah.
Yo, okay. Well, what are you thinking? What do you guys want to talk about? What do we want to discuss? What are some of your thoughts about the recent content, about recent events in the world? What are we going to have a panel on today?
I don't have thoughts about recent content, Wick, but I do want to research some old drama. If you like. I disagree with an RP take you made on Twitter a while back. And since Baldur's Gate is out, I feel like
Okay.
it's recent enough.
Okay. We can also talk, because I know some people have made this take. I don't know if they're in my chat, but they're welcome to come on. Is Baldur's Gate racist?
How can a gate be racist?
How can a gate be racist? You'd be surprised. Okay. So the
Why would it be racist? What's the contention? What's the meme here?
The tweet was that someone felt very put upon and uncomfortable and felt that the racism was unnecessary because they played a tiefling character and everyone was mean to their tiefling character and used made up slurs against their tiefling character, and it reminded them of their plight as a black person, and it triggered feelings in them, and they didn't like it, and so they were just expressing that. They said it was a great game, to be clear, but the discussion became, is D&D lore racist, etc., etc. So we could do that as well.
I believe compassing racism is okay in a story. You can show racism in a story. This is how we critically deal with racism in media. It sounds like the argument there is that you shouldn't show racism in the media.
I mean, and to be clear,
and it's a fictional race.
It is a fictional race, but it's a fictional species, to be clear. It's different. But to kind of steelman this, right?
Okay.
Video games, and tabletop games specifically, are a unique kind of media. They're interactive in a way that most media is not. And so given the fact that you, the player, are putting yourself in the role of these characters and interacting, it's almost impossible for people to 100% separate what their character is doing and what they are doing. And right, they get into it. They get into and immersed in the game. And the more immersive the game is, the more effect this has on people, right? And so you can imagine a scenario, right, where a game or a DM is really just being ham-fisted with it and making people experience undue hardships and racism and other things that they do in real life. Games should be an escape from these things, and it should not be something where we relitigate or hash out horrific things of the past.
I'm a DM of about 10 years on and off. I won't say I haven't been running games like every week for 10 years, but I've kind of like been in the space for a while. It is true that in an in-person game, a prudent move is to say, hey, by the way, guys, is there any content you don't want to see? This is the kind of thing that I want to deliver in the game. I want to do like a really gritty story, or, there's going to be a little bit of sexual themes or whatever. That's something that you should prime your players for sure. And you don't have the luxury of that in a video game. So I suppose there is a conversation that you can have about like, oh, hey, this might play on the affect of a certain racialized experience.
I have a completely different take.
But okay,
I think
I was about to
being or readying your co-players to prepare them for quote unquote traumatic events such as racism or whatever. I think that's cringe. However, I would say that the players themselves should not go out of their way to be like in-game racist towards other players, even though the game lore might have some racist undertones in it.
It's less about like priming them or trigger warnings, and it's more about like, hey, what kind of game do we want to play? What kind of story do we want to live? And I don't think it's cringe to just give someone a heads up. Hey, look, if you're uncomfortable with like sex stuff, I want to do this because or sex stuff. Sorry, like sexual content. I'm going to include that in the story, for instance. I think that's totally okay and like not cringe. It's not a case of like trigger warning or content warnings are fine, but trigger warnings, some people don't like those because of like, oh, it like validates trauma and stuff.
Hey,
Or not validate, but it
unless
like
there's like a huge sort of age or maturity gap between you and the other players, I think people in general should be okay with having adult themes in the game. And plus, in a game like D&D where it's like, hey, it's based on player choices, they don't have to like go with the worst option, right? They can continue to be like, hey,
I got
this
the
may
hot
be the
take here.
backstory, but we can continue to be good people in the game.
drop it,
Go for
Testy.
it.
Drop the hot take.
All right, so we're talking about video games and that they should be racist. Or I've never played Baldur's Gate. I think it's like, I don't know. Everyone's talking about it. Like,
Ginger, hold on.
oh shit!
Shut up.
Shit,
Shut the fuck
Ginger.
up, everyone, because none of you matter. Only Ginger matters. Ginger,
I was
thank
in
you
her
for
chat.
the raid. Happy birthday to Ginger. Gang, go. Can one of my mods shout out Ginger? Okay, shout out Ginger.
I mean,
go
you
follow
just yelled
Ginger.
at me, so
Ginger, it's her birthday. So give her
Whoa.
a birthday follow. Welcome to our impromptu panel on racism in video games. And do you know why it's an impromptu panel? Because that motherfucker Origin no-showed me. And I planned out a whole discussion, and this motherfucker doesn't even show up. So I need content.
How?
This is what we're doing.
yeah.
Right? Two times
I'll be
and
real
you're
with
out.
you. Also, hey Ginger. Look, nobody gives a fuck about racism in video games, and I think the hot take is the reason people play video games is because it's like the one last escape. They don't want fucking real shit and like all this stuff. So I think if
How
anything,
sad must your life be if your escape is be racist towards others?
no, not be racist. I mean, that's just like a side benefit. But my point was that all the women in video games should have like giant tits, like they should be even bigger, and all of the men need to have like 6%, 5% body fat. Like they should all be fucking shredded. I'm sick of all this. Like, oh, we need people that look like. No, I play video games because I want huge tits and massive muscles, and that's what everybody should want. So
Based. Okay, we were
yeah.
expanding. We were expanding this topic to representation in video games in general. Okay,
All the isms.
all the isms: sexism, racism, ageism,
Homophobicism.
ableism, all the isms. What role do video games play in perpetuating harmful stereotypes? Because that is the argument I hear a lot. That things like WoW, World of Warcraft, to be clear, D&D, they perpetuate harmful, real-world racist stereotypes that lead players to kind of swallow their implicit bias, and it reinforces these things and creates racist actions in the real world, right? That's the argument.
I mean, anyone who's played like first-person shooters, I'm talking like the old school Xbox days, like people remember those lobbies. Nowadays, like the reason the new COD kind of sucks is because they started clamping down on that stuff. Like people play some of these games so that they can be toxic pieces of shit. So you could say it's like I don't know, a toxic part of gaming culture. But I don't know, man. If you spent any amount of time on the internet, I feel like uh, there's a time and a place. And again, part of that sort of escapism thing. I don't use the N word online. Like I troll in more creative ways. But I don't know, when you're giving people shit in online play, it's just kind of part of the game.
I think
You might
equating these behaviors to escapism is also pretty harmful. Like you can just fantasize, right? You can try and do like 360 no scopes. Why do you have to be toxic and racist to get your get your freak on?
Yeah, so some people like they'll find entertainment and joy in playing a game, but for others, their joy and entertainment is ruining the experience for other people.
Those are shitty people, though. That's the point.
Yeah, that's probably not good.
Yeah.
That's when my you shouldn't comes out.
No, I wholeheartedly disagree. This is why like look at Twitch poll. Everyone's anonymous. Everyone's a fucking asshole. It's the same reason people leave mean YouTube comments. It's because you can just take your aggression out, all your insecurities and all your shortcomings. You can just dump that online onto somebody else, and then it's just gone forever.
I'm
it's like therapy.
sure we can do with like a space hey, like a forum where people just go and shit on people. But like the part is, why does it have to be on a video game where others are not?
Or others are not what?
Oh,
Game might
no.
contain blood, right? Like going back to what Fungus's take was in the beginning. What happened?
Oh, you kind of cut out in the middle there. But while we're fixing that, gang, this is an open panel. This is I literally last minute thrown together. So if you want to talk about racism and sexism in video games, now's the time. We can also expand this to board games, tabletop games, etc. Games in general. So if you want to sound off, if you have opinions on it, hit that Discord, jump backstage, I'll pull you in.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like I feel bad. I don't want to shit on Origin too much because he's gonna get shit on a lot, and I don't I don't want to contribute, but it's a little justified. All right, can I ask you guys if something is racist? Because this pertains to board games.
Let's go.
So when I play Risk, I put all
we
of my
have
troops
the
in
Racism Council as
as
convened.
The
assembled.
Racism
we-
Advisory Board.
We will decide what is racist and what is not. Go ahead.
So when I play Risk, I put all my troops in Japan, right? And I'm not good
That's
at
a
Risk.
base strategy, all right? That's nothing racist about it.
It's actually pretty bad because I think there's only one way in and out. But anyway, just for like the memes, I put all my troops in Japan, and inevitably I will start losing. And then so kind of like 3/4 of the way through the game, whenever I might start losing troops, I'll just attack whoever's in first place, and I'll just like fuck them up. And then even though I'm gonna lose, I just ruin the game for them. And that's for me is the fun part.
That's Bushido, bro.
Insider. It's me. I'm here. How are you doing?
Hello.
So
Cameras,
So
if we got him, gang.
if
Testicle,
they're a really
why
good
is
player,
I don't actually have one right now.
Why is that?
Yeah,
Why is that
don't camera
racist? Why is that
Yeah, so,
racist?
Tessie,
I think that's just honoring the
yeah.
culture, bro. It's
Oh,
Bushido.
because I say like kamikaze, like as I'm like attacking the other
Oh.
players.
but they can't hear you, right? So I guess.
Well, oh no, I don't play Risk online. If I'm playing a
Right,
board,
right.
I don't play board games online. That's
Zephyr
weird.
does that.
Oh, you
That's
are
weird.
actually doing that. You're shouting it at people's faces.
Yeah.
I guess it
I
would
think
be.
that's like the. I
So
think
maybe
that's
not
like
do it to a Japanese person, but
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. I'm gonna
It
write this
depends
Now,
down.
on
see,
how
the
well
test
you know
if it's
them.
racist or not is would you do it to a Japanese person? Like,
oh, true.
if
Depends
you
how well I know them.
don't believe it, if you think it's racist, you wouldn't, and if you don't think it's racist, you would. So what would if you had a Japanese American or just a native Japanese person playing Risk with you, would you do that?
If I were their friend, yeah. Like I'm, who's
would,
not
if I
racist
was
a
their
little bit
friend.
amongst their friends. Well, actually, I guess okay. Well, I should specify I'm not white, so maybe white people can't really kind of joke around in the same way. I guess I don't know.
Damn.
You can't be like racist to your white friends, but yeah, I don't know. You might say some. So yeah, if I knew them, if I was friends with
If you're
them,
not
I
white,
wouldn't do
you're
it to
a
just some
squirrel.
fucking random guy that I met. Like, oh, you're Japanese? Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I think that might be a little bit. No, that's definitely inappropriate.
You
It's
don't
definitely
say
like a
Dumbo
high
or
risk
Gato, Mr.
concept.
Roboto?
It's definitely like a high risk concept to like make race based jokes with strangers. Like I go to board game nights. I wouldn't do that with a Japanese stranger, for sure.
I've got
Race-based
a
jokes are best in mixed company where you know all the company.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, I
If
think so too.
everyone's white, then I actually think that's a bigger problem. I'd rather make a racist Japanese joke if someone there is Japanese.
Guys, we're missing a very critical component. How funny is the joke you're about to make?
When is toxic behavior allowed? When it's funny enough. True.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
That's like everyone's unspoken opinion.
I've got limited time, so
It's the entire WoW community. Smile.
let me shoot my shot. Give you the real topic because this is really soft right now. This is not getting around to what the real racism
Make
is,
us
and that is
hard,
orcs.
Soyaddle. Make us
Yes,
hard. Go
orcs.
ahead.
J.R.R. Tolkien based the concept of the orc race over, a minority group. So is the whole concept of race and orcs and Kinder, like the thieving Dragonlance race, and the gully dwarves, the dirty, like short person in Dragonlance, are these all racist stereotypes reincorporated into a game? And should we just cancel all role-playing games because of it?
I just pretend orcs are conservatives.
Also,
Just, I mean, they have the same mannerisms, same exact thought process. I don't wait. What race did
orcs
Tolkien?
are pretty progressive, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
trying
what
to,
did
like,
he base
make
the orcs
factories
on?
and
I know
shit, create jobs.
I know he based it on like a medieval history or something like that.
Probably the French. No.
Who did he base the orcs on?
I thought orcs were based on black people.
I'm getting fact checked
No.
in
Yeah.
chat. He
So-
didn't
Is
do
that
it.
not correct?
I'm getting
No.
fact checked in chat. It was a myth that Tolkien did
Boots.
that apparently.
Boots.
Yeah, I've got to
Boots,
go,
do you know
but I'm
about
gonna watch the Fallout. Thank you.
Boots? You are a racism
Wait,
expert. in my
aren't
server.
orcs just
are
like
racist.
Why
remade
don't you
elves?
come in and
That's a joke.
Wait, orcs are just
educate us on
wait.
this?
Hold on, orcs are just elves, aren't they?
Yeah, they're
Well,
supposed to
they're,
be like
like-
corrupted elves or something.
Yeah.
Here's like
It
here's
depends
what
on the lore.
I think you can make a racist caricature, like caricatures absolutely exist, but if it's just like, I don't know, like I can't see a one-to-one comparison. I don't know what you're drawing what people are drawing on, because if we're just saying, oh, like people are being racist towards elves or orcs or whatever the fuck, it's like, I don't know, at a certain point it's like,
Look, orcs might not be racist, but elves are definitely homophobic.
So one thing
I think
that
for
bothers
the
me,
allegory,
one thing that bothers me in games in general, and I think this is just lazy writing. I don't think it's racist or anything, where you have nations, but they're races. So you have the human empire, you have the orc empire, you have the elf empire, you have the halfling empire, and so they're all just homogenous, racial.
the human race
everything
should
by,
itself have
is
different
on
countries
racial
and
lines.
stuff, right?
I think that makes for lazy storytelling, lazy world building. It's a pet peeve of mine when there's more than maybe one race that does this. Like I could see it being one empire being homogenous, but yeah, I just don't like it. Fun.
Wasn't Tolkien's race based, right? You had Numenor and the Numenorians, you had Rivendell and all the elves and all the different elven kingdoms, and there were wood elves and whatever. There are different factions of elves. That was one of the best stories ever, though. On the contrary, do you think it would have been better if he kind of varied because in the big places, I don't know, I don't remember hearing about elves in Minas Tirith or anything like that.
I think for
don't know.
the
That was a
analogy
good
for
story.
equating orcs to whatever race, the problem is that Lord of the Rings is essentially an allegory for against industrialization and preserving the countryside culture of England. And I don't think it was like any other race of people that was taking away the countryside culture. Right? It was like mostly industrious, whatever, city folk that were industrializing the country. And so that would be the antagonist in that allegory, right? And not really a particular race of people. Like the orcs would be equivalent to like city folk, urban folk who are creating industrialization.
Hey, just real quick, mute yourself.
I put him back into backstage.
Okay, mute the stream, buddy. Mute the stream. And once you muted the stream, you can come back. I would suggest you take yourself off open mic, and you can participate with the rest of.
I'm just, yeah.
I
Sorry.
think in Harry Potter, the goblins being Jewish, that is
because they
like a
run the
worse
bank.
example, I would say.
That seems a little bit more on the nose. No pun intended.
Literally.
Oh
Even
no!
though it's not like I'm not saying that J.K. Rowling is racist or anything, but I think that's like a better
I would say it. I would definitely
example
say
of
I think
species to races or whatever.
I think all people who essentialize things are kind of on a level, some kind of ist or phobic, because it requires essentialization in order to do it. That's why TERFs are like they're like, oh, we're so pro woman, and they'll like pal around with like Matt Walsh or something.
Ellen,
That's such a
my
broad
question
statement.
is,
Yeah, it's
sorry.
pretty broad.
No, I was just saying, my question is, are you referring to the people who are interpreting the goblins that way, or are you referring to her writing the goblins that way?
I'm referring to her writing the goblins that way. She believes in essentialization. So, like, she believes a person's a person. She doesn't believe in the concept of change. That's why she's such a TERF.
No, hold up. But okay,
Okay.
let's just separate like her, because she came out with all that crazy shit after, and I understand that if those were her beliefs, she probably incorporated that in some of the stories. The goblins could be an example of that. But taking it at like if somebody were to read Harry Potter as a standalone book, they don't know anything about the author. Like, do you think they would come away with that? Like, that's what I'm more interested in.
Oh,
Like,
it's what I came around away from as like a 10-year-old.
What?
So
I
you
was
read
like,
the book and
What?
you were
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
this is a Jewish stereotype. This is not cool.
Okay, until someone told me it was supposed to be Jewish people, I had no idea it was supposed to be Jewish people.
Same.
But
I'm the
wait,
same there.
And I
Literally,
think
like,
that's,
the
I think that's
the-
sus that you read this and you immediately thought Jewish people. I think that's
It was
sus.
literally-
at 10 years old.
yeah. It
Can
was,
one have too much
I-
awareness?
I read Mein Kampf when I was like 9, so I knew what the happy merchant thing was.
Hmm.
Fuck, man, I can't argue against this dude. Dude, he wrote.
I don't know. All right, look, I
Mine-
generally.
Okay, hold on. Intense complex. Mute the stream. Literally, I don't know what you're doing. Like, go into the right click the tab and click mute site.
Wick, is most of your job just tech support for people coming
Man,
on
I
panels?
don't know. Look. Most of my job, honestly, is getting people to show up when they say they show up, and I failed at my job today because Origin didn't show up.
Can
It's
you
2
call?
days in a row. I can
can you-
see the.
Can you
anger on
call
Wick's
one of my
face.
accounts that's dodging me? Like, no.
Well, what if your account is dodging?
Yeah, I was because you said your
So-
job is getting people to show up.
So I
Right.
guess I'm just trying to like contextualize this because I think when you read some works of literature, you could probably infer these things of like it's a little bit more on the nose or less, or you can kind of see through it and see like, okay, they're making this sort of like they're overlaying this type of thing for better or for worse. But yeah, I don't like. 'Cause the other thing is like, where are people supposed to pull from? Like, let's take Tolkien for an example. Like, if you're going to create a brand new race of people and cultures and languages and like all distinct from one another, like, like how would you pull from like your experience in the real world and not somehow like use cultural experiences that exist as like a parallel to that? So I feel like in some way, because then we always look at it through these lens like post hoc, and it was like, oh, this.
Okay,
this
Intense.
isn't-
I'm gonna put you backstage, and if a mod wants to come and help you, they can. But yeah,
Anyway,
figure shit
That's
out.
all I wanted to say. I just feel like a lot of the times it feels to me like we are looking at these things through modern lenses, which is not doesn't always seem appropriate to do.
So what often happens is, I think in case of Tolkien, right? Like allegories aside, like throughout history, there have been cultures that have been more barbaric than others. That have like the Huns and the Mongols. They're famous for like riding on horses and ransacking entire cities and villages in one go. I think that is where he took his inspiration from, and maybe did not mean to add the racist flavor to it. But like I don't know if it just so happens that these like horse warriors were the Mongols, the barbarianism in modern times we associated with like tribes in like Africa and whatnot. Doesn't necessarily have to be the case because like you can equate the sort of peaceful tribes of Africa to the elves as well. But I don't know why people pick and choose the peaceful parts to white people and associate them to white people
Look,
and choose the
You wanted the
barbaric
real
parts and
answer?
associate
You
them
want the
to
no
different
shit, no cap,
Yeah,
no
let's go straight.
pussyfooting around, Wick opinion on this?
Let's go.
Go for it.
Okay. All this shit is just to try to virtue signal, and it's treating racism as a treasure hunt. They have decided that they want to be the first to find the racism in the thing, and so they will scour things. And because they can only see things through one lens, the lens of oppression, power dynamics, and racism, that's how they see all media. So whether or not it's intended to be racist doesn't matter to them, right? If it can be interpreted as racist, it is racist. And I think that this has been done with D&D, with Tolkien orcs, with with the goblins in Harry Potter, etc., etc., etc. It's this inability to see beyond race. And so they just see everything through the same lens. And they get rewarded for it, right? They get rewarded for it because companies kowtow to this shit. And they get all sorts of likes and updates on social media. And so it's a treasure hunt. It's a race to see who can find the racism, right?
It's weird to me
I
how
hard agree.
Being racism is racist, guys.
like okay, so I want to compare it to Game of Thrones, where it's very clear delineation between, hey, this is Westeros. There's where all the white people live, and like seven kingdoms. They're civilized, and they have the Dothraki across the narrow sea. They're brown and they run on horses. And then they have like the the Dornish people in the dunes, and they have their own culture. Like no,
Alright.
that is literally like
So-
based on racism, but it's also based in human history.
Wait, someone can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but in the actual source material of the books, the Dothraki were not actually like black or brown. They were just shooting on set in a place that had a lot of brown people, so those were their extras.
No, didn't they
Can't
like get
verify.
Jason Momoa first? I would assume they would get like an actor and try to shoot it in a place where, or get extras that kind of match the actor, right?
Good point.
Possibly, but not
Or
necessarily
did they
either,
go to the
right?
location
Like,
first and then found an actor who looked like.
no, both of those things can be coincidence, or they could have done that intentionally, but they were working in a desert area.
I thought
And
the
the extras
Dothraki
in
were
the
supposed
area.
to be like Mongols.
Yeah, like it's
on the
not
book.
hard tied to the races of the like people that were actually used.
Yeah, but it's like
and
it's
obviously they
really
can
based on-
change the source material as well, and the source material doesn't necessarily need to be like the Dothraki are one race. They could be a mixture of people that ended up melding together. I haven't read the books. This is just
No,
something.
but I would say I'm just saying like this is an obvious example of similar type of racism. If you're equating orcs to whatever race, then like George R. R. Martin literally does that, and the show literally does that. It's a different race of people with different skin color, and they're quote unquote barbaric, and the white people of
wanna-
Westeros, they're quote unquote civilized.
Yeah, but I want to throw something out there that like how damaging is that? Because you could also argue it's taking like a specific sliver of time. Like, do you think that the Dothraki are just like, I mean, I guess they kind of are. Like, if they're just painted as purely like savages or something, like I can see that being extremely harmful. But it's almost like that. You know, they're a warrior people. They have like different cultures and stuff. I guess in terms of how that maps on into the real world, like because it is based on like a potential stereotype. Like, is it actually creating any sort of harm into the world, or is it just like does that even seem inappropriate in the context of this storytelling?
I don't think either Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings have any real world harm. I think except for people like picking and choosing and virtue signaling.
I
be honest.
actually just picked up my copy of Ice and Fire. The Dothraki are large people with copper tone skin, dark eyes, and dark hair. So whatever
So
copper tone means to
that,
you,
I mean, copper tone, that sounds attractive, right? That's kind of exotic. If anything, it's a compliment.
it's like Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus was yeah, yeah. There you go.
Jesus, if
All
he
right.
was if he was a
Bronze
horse riding, slave taking, murderous, savage, barbarian
look.
type deal.
My outlook on kind of like writing is just that like, okay, you can as a writer play on real world history or people's knowledge or like affects about certain things or our attachments to things or our shared understanding of a certain history or story, and that will have positives and negatives. And I genuinely don't think it's like I genuinely don't think it's racist, but it is something to be like aware of that. Hey, you are playing on like, I don't know, the idea of the Mongols.
You know, if you think about it, Khal Drogo and Jesus have a lot in common. Long hair, get nailed for 3 days and come back for more. You know,
amazing by abs as well.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think that like to Testy's point, right? What harm is done? There can be like the perpetuation of stereotypes, right? We can recognize that if you are always if the black guy's always the villain, if he's always a drug dealing, stealing, gangbanger in all the stories, and that's all anyone sees a black person being, yeah, that could probably be a problem. But this is the thing. Stories are much more multifaceted than this. There are a multitude of stories. I think it's okay for a black person to be a bad guy in a story, as long as you have other stories where they're not bad guy, right? Like, as long as you don't typecast a race to be a thing, I think it's fine, right?
My claim is that right now, the most stereotype that goes on is like the Asian guy's always the nerd. And when I look at sort of history of movies, I personally, again, I might be wrong, I haven't done my research into it, but I can recall villains mostly being like Russian or Eastern European more than I recall them being like black, especially in the 70s and 80s action movies.
Now it's like Muslims, right? Or like, you know, like Middle Eastern.
There was a phase
it's
where
still English.
that
Now
was
it's
the thing.
English.
Yeah.
British gentlemen is the
British. Yeah,
main-
British people have they're easy to hate.
there needs to be more like just southern white guy, but like not the redneck ones that live in the trailer, but like the suburban ones that pretend like they're like from the countryside. Because I think that's a true villain. You know, like whoever wrote that small town song.
Just
Do you
to
think
just to
he's
wait.
a villain? He okay.
The
I
guy,
don't know how.
the guy who romanticized Jim Crow. Yeah,
Wait, no, wait. What? He didn't
Oh,
Yeah, wait,
romanticize
how?
Jim Crow. What he
the
did?
that
small
song's-
dude. Try that in a small town.
No, oh,
What?
different guy. That's Richmond. North
Okay.
Richmond is a different
Oh,
guy.
No. That guy's just
Okay,
you're like
okay. I don't know the. I don't know
He-
the try
he's-
that in small town guy.
he's not as
weird.
poor as he pretends to be because he's a landowner, but he's still like just kind of like dumb and anti-Jewish. But I think in that like the way that Elon Musk is like interesting.
How do you know?
I-
How do you know these things about him? Like, no, let's talk about this.
Oh wait,
A
do you
lot
not
of
know?
people.
The
and this is pet
landowner
peeve.
lives in a $750 trailer.
Okay,
Okay, that's $750 more than I have.
Let me get my opinion out, then you
Sorry,
guys can argue
yeah.
with me. Okay, so this Oliver North guy, his song came out.
Oliver
That's
Anthony.
all anyone knew about him for the longest time. So they based on a couplet in his song and a YouTube playlist that he had, right? People extrapolated all sorts of beliefs on this guy, right? All sorts of beliefs that both the right and left did this. They knew what he was and what kind of person he was and what kind of political beliefs he had all down the line. But then as we're getting more information about this dude voted for Bernie in 2020. Like,
Oh no, he's the average American voter.
yeah, he's just
He's a
this
normie, yeah.
normal guy. And so
He-
I
he
think it
likes
was
Bernie,
everyone
but
thinking
he
he was
thinks
some
it's-
kind of Nazi, or everyone thinking he was some kind of like fucking
Like a plant.
liberal cuck. I don't know
Yeah.
what to tell you.
No, he's just the average American voter who will vote for Bernie, but then also think it's weird that Israelis were dancing outside 9/11 or something like that, or believe like really weird conspiracy theories. Like I would say that a solid 25 to 30% of the American electorate is just conspiracy theorists. And if the left wants to win, we need to make better conspiracies.
You need to make better songs. Like that song was catchy as fuck, dude. You need
We got Woody,
for that.
dude. We got Woody Guthrie. We're fine.
Woody Guthrie? Okay, I'll check him out.
And all what's his name? Fuck. He was on H3H3. Oliver Tree. No, no.
Oliver Tree. Yeah. he's yeah.
Wait, did 𝕵𝖎𝖎, did you seriously just say who when I said Woody Guthrie? Wait, hold on. How young is this audience? Does no one know who Woody Guthrie is?
I mean, I had to Google him. Wait, dude,
God
he was
damn it.
born in the fucking like 30s. I'm just looking
He's
it
the
up.
reason Tom Morello has "This Machine Kills Fascists" on his guitar.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we need an updated version. That's. I mean,
Honestly,
Okay,
I'm
Tom
gonna be
Morello
real with you.
works.
Most people don't know the politics, and nor should they, of their favorite artists, musicians, etc. Like, it's weird to me when people look into the politics of an artist at all, right? Like, why do you care? But people do.
this might be an interesting topic because it's about like separating art from the artist. Like, for example, "Remix to Ignition" is still a pretty sick song, you know, but like I don't know, I've heard people be like, I just can't listen to it anymore because you know
I listened to the "They Might Be Giants" cover so that I can listen to it ethically.
ethically, yeah. See, for me, I don't know, man. Like, if you want to go watch old episodes of like the Bill
I
Cosby
need
show, like,
"They Might Be Giants" just to cover every like problematic artist. I want to hear them cover Chris Breezy. All right, I want to hear the lead singer of that band do the "Look at Me Now" verse from Busta Rhymes.
Okay, Portland.
Look,
Portland, you're sitting there, nor should they. What are you talking about? Artists make music as an express form of political advocacy. They can. That happens. But I would say that most artists, most songwriters, musicians
Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit was at Woodstock.
don't really do that, right? Like, what's the political advocacy of like fucking Taylor Swift songs, right? Her political advocacy.
Taylor Swift is a
simply,
Democrat.
Yeah, but she's not making songs to make people Democrats.
Wait, yes, she is.
Is?
You-
The
Hold on,
yeah,
majority
I'm
sorry,
gonna
of
give
her
you
music-
trouble when you walk
summoned
in.
the
is
one
actually
minority
what
Yeah,
I told
that
them.
is an allegory for how conservatives are secret fascists. I knew
Wick,
you were trouble for
you
when I
summoned
walked
the
in.
one minority Swiftie, okay? I'm about to give you all the Taylor Swift songs that are political.
But she
Thanks.
also listen. She also creates the world that we want to see. She takes accountability, right, for the partisan hack. So
Shut the
shame
fuck
on
up.
me. Now, okay.
Shut the fuck up, okay? This is cap.
Can't
This is
believe you'd say that to
everyone
fun-
being politics and racism brained,
Taylor-
looking for shit.
Really?
where it
Taylor
isn't
Swift
there.
is a femcel
Well-
icon.
But why would we look into artists specifically for their politics, right? Why don't we just enjoy the art unless they've done something egregious?
I do that.
right?
Like I'll still listen to fucking Ted Nugent. Like I don't care.
Taylor Swift
Stra-
is the ultimate
Okay.
capitalist. So far that
Stranglehold
she
is a fucking
re-recorded all
bop.
her songs.
So we're all
Yeah,
just
I
Able to
mean-
earn extra cash.
nobody gives a
Yeah,
fuck.
but at the end of the day, it's like if, as an example, if you're going on background of like rap, I'm not listening to rap music to see who's conservative or Republican. Like, if Tom McDonald makes a good song, sure, right? The guy,
Yeah.
you know, the white guy with tattoos and all
Yeah,
over
he
his face and
hasn't
shit.
yet,
But
sadly. I'm pretty sure I
if
could beat him in a rap
his
battle.
whole shtick is like I'm rapping just for the political part, it's like if it's not good, it doesn't matter, right? You have to make good art first before you can like whether you're trying to influence it or not. Because if you don't make good art, then nobody gives a fuck. Realistically, like nobody's gonna care.
What
You get what I'm saying?
what makes art good in the modern day? Like what I feel like
Okay,
art to be good has to usually push against something. Is there art that doesn't push
No.
against stuff that's usually good?
I wouldn't say it has to push against anything. I just say there has to be certain criteria it has to meet. So, as an example, I think that for art to be good, one thing is that it has to have a general consensus that, like, as an example, 60% of people that listen to something or play something or watch something agree that it's a good thing. I think that if anything is under 60%, even if it's like 59%, I think that you can tell that
Art
something's a
doesn't
little off there.
necessarily have to be good. There's lots of like songs.
Like-
that
Yeah,
go
there's
popular just
there's
because
as an
they're so bad.
example, you can say "The Room" by Tommy Wiseau.
Yep.
It's objectively bad, but we as a community
So bad it's
find it
good.
a cult classic level of good. Like something can still be bad in the sense of it doesn't meet expectations of a lot of people, but
Oh,
it's
so, like,
good that
good
it's
you just, like,
enjoyable.
Enjoy.
Yeah, ironic
Yeah, it can be enjoyable.
engagement with media is actually quite popular these days as well, right? You're like,
Right.
haha,
We should
let me do
we
this
should all
Fortnite joke dance.
ironically support 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙 and like throw a concert for him and then not show up.
This is.
I mean,
this
yeah,
is-
it's
I
this
can't
is
let you
getting-
say. Sorry,
this is
I
a
just
dead
can't let him
conversation
say that
because
an
artists,
art
like-
piece is objectively bad, though.
Yeah, what I'm saying, the art is subjective. So like, we're gonna
Yeah.
spin our wheels on this. Like, you can come up with your threshold or whatever. Like, you know what I actually think is really cool is Piss Christ. You should Google that. But
Jesus.
So there is okay.
most
like,
people don't like it.
I understand that there is a subjective element to art, but art isn't entirely subjective, and we were
Oh,
kidding
God, are we getting
ourselves
into
to pretend
aesthetics?
that it
Mhm.
is. So
Like if you use
we can all
green,
differ, right, on what we find entertaining, and we have to understand, like, there are books out there that are extremely well written, excellently done, that I think are boring as fuck, and I don't engage with it. But
Like the
I would
Bible?
be a fool to say that this is a badly written book. We oftentimes extrapolate how we feel about a thing onto the quality of the thing, and that's a mistake. We can recognize something as bad, like the Forgotten Realms novels that I read as a kid. They were objectively bad. They were objectively poorly written. They were objectively kind of just shit.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the shit out of them. I found it fun. It was good reading to me, but I would never call those books good, right? Like,
I don't know what we're arguing about anymore. Sorry. I agree with you.
there-
I just
You
it's-
can. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say the nature of these things is extremely subjective. Like
Mhm.
I mentioned Limp Bizkit earlier. I unironically have a soft spot for Limp Bizkit, and they came out with a new album. I
As
bought
do-
one out.
as-
They came out with Gold Cobra. They're like a relic of like the new age, and Fred Durst is like a fucking joke. Yeah, a lot of people say that's objectively bad and terrible, but everybody
think
has even
there's-
what they call guilty pleasures, right? Like there's shit that everyone else hates, and you just happen to like.
Yeah, that was normally the standard of a guilty pleasure. Like Hocus Pocus is a guilty pleasure of mine, right? The first one.
Hocus Pocus is good though.
But
I mean,
but I think art makes us
Hold
feel,
on.
right? And I think
guilty
that's
pleasure. POD.
POD,
Okay.
fuck yeah. Dude.
We are.
Here's a
Youth of the
question, here's a question.
nation. We are.
like art makes us feel, right? And sometimes
It
art can
can.
make us feel bad in a way. But I think critically evaluating writing techniques might be a little bit more of a good case, right? You say it's a
Okay.
badly written book, but art makes us feel, and I feel like there's some value to that, even if it's like good or bad. Now, this is slightly different from the idea of critically evaluating whether writing is good or bad. You can have terribly written sentences. You can start sentences with and, but, because. You can have really long sentences with no punctuation, whatever.
Okay, Fungus, what if there's a person who is like mentally challenged who wrote a book and it becomes like, even though it's not the best book in the world, like the fact that someone who was challenged was able to write it.
You
is
talk
in
about J.K.
itself an
Rowling?
accomplishment.
Like Precious,
Maybe.
right? Like if
Well-
you ever read the Precious book, like the language isn't perfectly written English, right? It's broken English, but it was still like good enough. The fact that they wanted to like take this and turned it into, you know, the live action movie with Monique and shit, you know?
Like,
Just
I'll
that
admit
idea.
that there's techniques in art that are objective, like for example cinematography, lighting, things like that. When you make movies, like what color to use when you're drawing people or painting people, things like that are definitely objective, but appreciation of art is entirely subjective.
No, that's not objective. I wouldn't say like the things that you pick make it objective. I think it's just a design choice. It's a decision to make, right? Like if you want to shoot a movie in all black and white, it's not like this will objectively make my movie
No, but
good.
you would
That's not
have
the
to
case.
make you would have to make lighting appear such that it works in a black and white scene, right? Like you can't lighting for a black and white movie is different versus
I don't disagree with you, but the way you used objective doesn't fit. You get what I'm saying?
So
In that
I
sense,
get that. I get that. Like,
the differences between
because
form.
Chad is bringing that up a lot.
Yeah,
Just
but-
saying, we're using
Yeah,
the word
I-
I
objective
think
crazy.
I think what he's saying is.
Oh god.
Sorry,
So Boots
Whick.
is okay. Boots. Color can't be objective. Have you ever heard of color theory? Do you know what that is?
God damn, that's exactly what I was going to bring
racism.
up, Whick.
It's objective. It's a science.
Well,
Look
it's
it
a
up.
theory.
No, it's a theory.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
gas.
it's
It's
a
a
theory.
fucking
Well,
theory.
the
Like,
color
evolution
wheel
is
is
a
just
theory, right?
visual
I was
phrenology.
just going to say,
Well,
color theory is a
well,
scientific
this
theory,
is
which means it's a
different.
fact. All right.
no, listen.
Yeah,
You're talking about
these are
form and
different.
technique. So, like when people like want to be a painter, they are going to study things like color theory, because you could say, hey, that bunch of shit came before. Same with making movies. You could say, oh yeah, you can be creative and do your own thing, but there's like kind of a guidelines of like people that came before you and things that you can follow. Same with
Yeah.
music. You can look at all that. So,
Yeah, there's
there's a lot-
music theory if you're trying to make
Well,
music,
So,
stuff like that. Yeah,
AOP,
absolutely.
this
Wait,
is
can I-
one last example I'd like to give, right? So
Sure.
if you go to art school, they don't teach you how to make a painting or anything like that. You spend like years, at least months of your life just making line sketches, because they need to understand how can you make a line appear like a woman, or how can you make a line appear like a man, even though you're like maybe drawing like an alien woman and an alien man. Like there's some objective criteria, which I'm not exactly familiar with the terminology, but there's
How do
definitely
you-
some
how do
objective
you draw one?
parts
Wait.
of our brain that interpret
can we
certain
have-
things as female, male. Like this is a bowl, this is a pot, for example. Like, and you spend hours of your life going just making sure how you can make like a pot, a man, a woman, like a fruit, and make that apparent to the viewer with just your drawing, and like they don't confuse an apple with an orange, for
How
example.
how
Even
can
though
color
it can be painted as an orange.
how can color be objective if we can't even see all the colors? One time I took an edible and I got to see the 2 extra colors that shrimp see.
Ooh,
You saw
that's a good
blurple.
question.
Yeah.
Blurple, yes.
Well, 1 in 12 men are colorblind. Maybe we should talk about that. It's a very serious
Just men.
issue.
Uh,
Yeah.
Just another
it's like
way
I'm not
men are,
racist.
know
I
that one.
literally
It's
can't
just
see
another
color.
way men are the most oppressed class in
Yeah, men
Whoa.
can't even color.
Based.
And why are
We're-
traffic
we're
lights red and
We're
green?
so based we oppress
Who the fuck
ourselves.
thought that was a good idea?
Uh huh.
Uphill battles are the best ones to win, right?
Yeah.
True.
If women are so based, then why haven't they subjugated an entire gender?
I mean, sometimes they subjugate me, but it's a different story.
That's because
Okay.
you're into that, Wick.
Yeah, that's a different story. Okay, let's
nothing to do
kind
with
of
your man,
get
you're a
this
simp.
back on the racism thing. I want to talk about.
Oh, sorry.
racism.
Isn't that like a banned Twitch word? Sorry.
Okay,
Racism?
so what was it originally?
Wait.
Like racism
the
in
S
like,
word?
media?
I say racism in video games.
Yeah, I didn't
so
mean
that
it.
came
Sorry.
on.
Okay.
Disavow and move on.
like-
Sorry.
So, I guess I'll ask, because we've had a few new inners. Can video games be racist, and how so?
No,
Yes. Yeah.
They can be. Yeah.
How?
no.
Can you give me an example?
Hold on. Yes, actually I can. Hold on.
You can literally have.
Let me load
you
up.
can have like all enemies are a different race. They shout like in a different language and like gullible, like just weird, make wacky noises. Like they
So-
try to attack you, but they miss. Like you can do all sorts of racist stuff in video games if you want to. Like, you shouldn't. You
What-
should make
that-
enemies competent and stuff to make it fun.
That one thing doesn't make any sense. So you're
What?
saying that if in Halo all the enemies are aliens, but they're competent, that's not racist. But if they're incompetent, they are racist. Is that?
I'm
I
saying
don't.
like obviously there's
Okay.
like a variation, right? Like I'm just giving an example. For example, like in Far Cry, if all
Okay.
the enemies are a certain race, they miss you every time they try to hit
Wick-
you. They don't
Wick.
communicate with each other. They like
That sounds like easy mode. Like you might have to increase the
Yeah.
difficulty from the gaming journalist mode of easy and like go to
Mhm.
normal or hard.
I agree.
Wick.
But what if that's the base game? Like that would be, I would say, like, why would, and let's say, and then there's like a few white enemies, for example, who can hit you, who are like slightly overpowered compared to the other enemies. Like, I would say that.
Well, I would
would
say
be
in the
like
game there would have to be
racism.
a damn good reason. So, like as an example,
No living
if we were
being.
to stay with Far Cry, you can say that in Far Cry 2, when you're in the African continent, that let's say the lighter people are special forces from a different country versus the natives that are just regular pirates, as an example, right? I'm not saying that's accurate, but I'm just giving you an example of that. But it's weird because it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as an example, if anybody played South Park, right? Something that somebody
Right,
brought in
yeah,
the
if
chat.
there's like, if
You
there's a
can
story
literally
reason for
you
it,
can
there's
literally
different
turn the
reasons.
meter all the way darker and it makes it harder for you, right? So
Yeah,
it's
there's
like
a class called Jew. Like,
Ooh, so and art as well as other video games, they don't exist in a vacuum. Like we all know this. This is just true. But like then you can make societal commentary with like ironic racism, and you know that's an important thing, and maybe we shouldn't lose that as an artistic tool. It just requires healthy involvement, integration, whatever, healthy engagement with the media.
You know what would be very healthy engagement with my stream is subs, bits, donos. Gang, I know
Get
this
this
is
hype train
scuffed.
going, man.
I
Let's
know
go.
this is scuffed right now because I got ditched. Help me
I
feel
resent
better
that.
about myself by giving me
All right, I'll
bits.
spice it
Sorry
up.
to hear
I'll
you
spice
got
it up
ditched,
a bit.
man. That sucks.
Let me
It
spice.
did.
So I had a friend, and he said that he dressed as a woman once, right? And I was like, oh, okay, he dressed in drag. And then I was like, that's a little bit offensive. And he's like, no, I was cosplaying as a woman. So to take this analogy and make it fit, I think when you're playing video games, because I brought this up before, this idea of escapism. I don't know. People have more of an appetite for movies or games that are more like movies. There's tons of cinematics and like the voice acting and the music, like all the standards have risen. However, I think that level of escapism. So like, yeah, if something is being blatantly racist, or like, hey, this race is the bad guy or whatever, like, I don't know. I feel like we should be, think of it as a cosplay. It's it's a representation of something that might exist in reality. Apart from like caricatures, because I think those are harmful. Certain caricatures and like direct stereotypes, as Wick was saying, like those two-dimensional characters in movies and stuff, like that's probably bad. We can probably agree on that. But if we're talking about like a race within a video game, like I just see like that's really difficult for me to accept. Of like they are representative of this entire race. Like we
Yeah,
don't even think about that way in like
Okay,
in
how about
reality.
you wouldn't think about
Like,
that in fantasy unless the creators of it absolutely explicitly said, yes, this is the way it is. I
These
believe
are
Wizards
black
of the
people.
Coast said that.
Yeah, these
Yeah,
are
like
the-
Wizards of the Coast said that these are actually representation of black people or something. Then
Did
yes,
they?
right? If the creators behind it, I believe they
Oh.
did. I believe a while back before
Okay,
they changed
that
everything.
seems like a bit of a misstep, but
Right. But if
You guys
that is the
are-
case, right, it would have to be you get it directly from the developers, right? But you can't say the game itself unless in the game they deal with a level of racism. Like as an example, you can go in Baldur's Gate where I believe there's a class that gets subjugated from everybody else, right?
Okay.
That you can
Class?
say
They have to be
racism or
subjugated.
slavery or something of that nature. Sure, within the
class
game.
or a
but you can't
race?
I would
Here's,
have to
getting-
check.
he's
I'd have
here's
to
a
triple check.
question. Here's a
Wait, a
question. Maybe
class
this
or a
will drive
species?
this a little bit. Maybe this will
I'd
I'd
drive
have to
this
double
a little
check.
bit.
I'd have to double check.
Okay.
Wick's
This will
talking.
drive this discussion a little bit. Is it okay to play a racist or a murderer or a rapist even in a video game or in a tabletop game? Is it okay?
yeah, murder
to allow a
holders
player
is so fun.
to
Most
play
video games are
out-
murderers, yeah.
Okay.
Sure, but when we come to racism,
depends
is it
on
okay
how
to
much you get
allow
into it.
a player to be specifically racist in their game?
I think it all depends on the kind of game that the people at the table want to play and whether that kind of game is okay or not. I'm sure there's like
So
like
you would be
a
okay
point where
with
it
a
gets like
tabletop
morally not
game
okay. Sorry, go on.
where the players are allowed to pretend to be rapists?
Yep.
Wick, have you ever heard of the video
They're
game
allowed
called,
to be.
or has anyone heard of this
I
game
mean,
called
Postal,
this
Rampage.
game called 𝕼𝖎? It's a Japanese game.
Oh my god.
Never heard of this.
Okay, I'll
Um,
give you the synopsis. It is banned in most places. It's a Japanese game, and you play the protagonist. And what you do is you follow a mother and a daughter. You follow them onto like a train. I think you just follow them around, and eventually,
Wait, why do you know about this game?
I don't know. It made waves like years and years
Wait,
ago.
is that a
Go with
yeah?
Anyway, the whole point of the game is that
Show your Steam
is
library
the-
right now.
that you rape these women. That is the
Oh.
game. It's called
Mhm.
𝕼𝖎. You can Google it. I
Why
think
would you
that
advertise this game?
Yeah,
no,
true. I think it's one of the banned games on.
You got
I feel like-
56 new
no, no,
purchases of that
okay,
product now. Okay.
if people are going to buy it based on this, then you got bigger problems.
Yeah,
But my
real.
point is, this kind of, I mean, to the Wick's point, talking about murders and rapists, I feel like it's irrelevant. I would say, to me, this feels like a bridge too far. And then we can get into that conversation of whether you think this should be illegal and all that other shit. But I think, like, morally, yeah, you probably shouldn't play a game where the objective is to rape people. That is probably not a good idea. So yeah, there you go. Do something with that.
But I
crazy
would
that
say
there's, like,
Where the
specifically,
objective,
real
yeah,
quick,
I thought it was
real
all
quick.
just Skyrim mods.
Right. I would say specifically though, 99% of games you're playing as a murderer, right? Even if the story tries to do this cognitive dissonance of you're playing as the good guy. As an example, you could play Uncharted where you're playing Indiana Jones, right? Not Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones. You're murdering a lot of people. You're not like incapacitating people or anything like that. You're murdering thousands of people on your way to get to the treasure. Most games where you're playing as a main character will lead to you killing a lot of people. Most often than not, those consequences aren't showcased in the story, right? They're a byproduct of you going from point A to point B. But the egregious examples that Wick brought up of like rape and murder or rape and racism, it's hard to find as a direct like main character. This game is this way. Maybe you might have people who are xenophobic, where people don't like aliens, but like a main AAA game released in the last 30
Baldur's
years, it
Gate.
would be hard to find.
Do you think
Look, I
there's
just
like
got-
Just real quick,
1850
I give you-
Plantation
Yeah.
Simulator?
I'll give you a big recent example. Baldur's Gate. If you wanted, you
Mhm.
can kill all the tieflings. You can take the species of tiefling, the race of tiefling, right? And you could
Mhm.
be racist as shit to them, and you can murder them, and you could destroy
I was
them.
classist
right?
to the druids.
My
instead.
prove. What about when your god is provably real in universe, and they're the good god, and good and evil is a provable force in the world, and this
Mhm.
provably real god hates all demons and demons, devils, and devil spawn. Okay,
That sounds
then you
base.
have to kill the tieflings, and it's a force for good. I'm not saying that there's a god like that. I'm actually not brushed up on the lore, but if in theory,
Wait, yeah, who's the god opposite Shar?
Saloon.
the
Yeah, Saloon, yeah.
so, do
How
they
about this?
genuinely hate
What are
all
these-
demons
what's-
and demon spawn?
What was this species? They're called
So, but
tieflings?
demon is
Tieflings.
Tieflings, they're either
Okay.
half demon or half devil.
Well, how about this? You know,
Mhm.
in your real life, you don't really have a chance to like subjugate and I don't know, genocide an entire race. So why not give someone that outlet in a video game? You know,
That
that's
already
what-
exists. It's called
Um,
Civ 5.
Oh, there you
I
go.
thought it was
Another
all
example.
Civ games, right?
So there's clearly an
Oh.
appetite for this type of content.
Yeah.
Ergo,
I subjugate the Spanish every day.
It is why I'm so loving.
Yeah,
Because I
think
win
of it.
before turn 100.
Oh, I thought you said because it's an outlet for your homicidal rage.
Yeah.
And also maybe it's an outlet. You know,
Johnny
like,
Scarlet, shut the fuck up. You don't matter. Okay, Johnny Scarlet, thank you for the raid for 27 people. 27
Nice.
base people.
When
Welcome.
are we gonna have Africa Universalis? When
What?
is that game coming out?
What, as in you get to play as the Africans? You already do. You already
And,
can. But you just lose.
I've never played Europa
So
Universalis,
hard.
so I didn't know.
Wow,
we
we
need-
got a raid.
Yeah,
Well, when is the
welcome.
one?
Gang, check her out. Can one of my mods shout out Johnny Scarlet?
well, God damn it,
Check 'em
Wick,
out.
you're just like
Johnny
shut up,
Scarlet
you're like,
sounds
shut
like
up, you
a-
dumb fuck. You don't matter.
They
You know
are
what? I will
great.
give her a shout out because I am a good mod.
Is it
Johnny
Flash
Scarlet.
SL?
It sounds like an adult film name. I'm
We're
not gonna,
just
not
to
gonna
let you
lie.
guys
Woo!
let you all know what we're talking about today. So my original guest ditched me. They no-showed me. So it's an impromptu open panel where we're talking about racism and sexism in games, and stories too. So, what are some examples of this? Is it ever okay to have racism and sexism in stories and
Hell yeah.
make
Okay.
Yeah,
is
it's
it
always
okay
okay.
for in a game to allow their players to be racist or sexist, and to what extent, right?
I think
So-
you can allow the players to be racist and sexist, but in game there should be negative consequences for it.
I think there should be some
They-
sort of
they
moral
did
lesson
that-
for it.
Do you remember there was
I
this
think
whole
so,
thing
yes.
about
If it wanted
Oh, I
to be
think it was-
realistic, there'd be positive consequences. Like,
So nobody, I we
It's
don't.
a video game.
It sounds like people didn't want to engage with it. You don't have to, but nobody engaged with my example of that game where you're literally playing a sex offender and that is the
Well,
objective of the game.
what I was gonna say about your game is overall, I think
It's not my,
Raven
it's not my
almost
game. It's not
the
my
game that you developed.
Mm.
God
The
damn
game that
it.
you created and marketed right here.
Go on.
The game that you're advertising here. I actually think rape is almost, I was going to say almost always fine in games, except for if the game's purpose
What?
is literally a rape simulator. That's the line. So like
Okay.
if you can rape in an RPG, I think that's fine. Okay?
Okay.
It's
Wait,
going to have
what?
negative
Do you?
consequences. It's going to have negative consequences on the person that you are doing it to, and that should be shown. Okay? But I don't know that it should
Mhm.
necessarily have to have negative consequences on your character.
They're definitely going to have
Like
it in
maybe
the
your
eventual
character is
Game of
just
Thrones
a
game.
piece of shit who's like a warrior and has won a war and then does this. I think it should show how awful it is, but I think that stuff should be okay. I would expect to read that in a book about World War II, a book about the Ukraine War.
Yeah.
I don't think that being in a video game is any worse than those examples.
Yeah, we're not in the
No,
segment
however,
where we
okay,
ask
here's the thing.
for
The
more
simulator is
Parallax.
the problem.
Stop
Wait, just real
advertising the
quick,
game.
real
Jesus.
quick. So, I think a story is different than a game. So, in a game, you are
Mhm.
interacting with the story. You are. It's an interactive experience, and I think that's the line for me that makes it not okay. I'm not okay with allowing certain actions in games.
What-
Right?
what
I
if
don't
we-
think a game should allow you to rape people?
What if the game is a like a honey trap? Like it's a basically like you release the game, then everyone who buys it is automatically on a list.
That
Yes.
depends on the game. Okay.
Okay, so Whick, if I could ask, do you think that it could be used as a storytelling tool,
Yes.
even if you don't
yes, I
interact
think-
itself?
Yes, I think that rape
yeah.
is something that is okay to portray in stories or movies. I don't think we should shy away from portraying dark, evil, malicious things. However, there again, it crosses a line when you can give the player the ability to just rape people.
Do the action.
It's
Right.
weird. I don't see a value to that. Now, to be clear, I wouldn't make it illegal. I would just morally condemn it, right? Like, I don't think it
Wait,
should be illegal
I-
to make this game. I
Whick,
just
I
would
wanna put
morally
you in the hot
condemn
seat.
the makers, right?
Are you drawing a distinction? Because let's just say, like, let's say take an example, God of War. Super fun game, but you're like fucking tearing things in half, and like a lot of blood and guts, and a lot of games are like
Sure,
that,
sure.
where the primary purpose is that you are killing things. So it sounds like what you want is like something that's a little bit more, I guess, culturally sensitive, or as some other people have mentioned, like you don't want it
I
to
don't
be
know about
glorified,
culturally sensitive.
or like you don't want it to be glorified. You want it to be like treated with some gravity.
Yeah, I
or,
think
like, more
that
weight to it.
there is something to be said about, like, I would also morally condemn a torture game where you like could sit someone up and
Well,
like torture them.
They
There's
did
like a
that in
skull
but that
game.
happens.
GTA
Wait, time out. But that
Yeah.
happens in GTA 5. There's
Yeah,
like
there's
a
a
whole
controversy.
scene
I know, I
for that.
did
The
not like
most
that,
highest
right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the
It's
sort of
pretty
example I
based.
do think is okay.
I like the
Yeah, it was
card
pretty
game.
based. Yeah, it was just pop a nut. You know what I'm saying? Pull out some teeth. You know,
Yeah.
electrocution. There's nothing wrong with that.
Gross.
I think
my
I think
problem with that is like I don't think you can progress in the story until you.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to
like
push
it's
it.
necessary. You have to do it, or you can't
Yeah.
continue. Right?
Yeah.
Like you
Which
have
which
to.
I in my perfect world I would make that like a choice. Like
So
I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
it
I
sounds
think
like we're
that's
drawing a
fine.
distinction. We're just drawing a distinction between violence, which I would agree is also like promoted and glorified quite heavily in society through media, and that's like this because once we mention like rape or like sex things like that seems like it's there's a lot more weight that seems to be being given to that, which may be rightfully so.
But-
I don't know. It seems like tearing people apart and blood and guts. Seems it's a weird standard. I just it was more of an observation. I didn't have like a question attached to that, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird that we're kind of giving the weight to one of these things, and the other one, it's like, who hasn't played a violent video game?
Right.
But I guess there's a difference between like being a soldier in a war, or compassing that, or like putting yourself in those shoes versus, explicit torture and shit like that. Whereas like it might be implied that shit like that goes on in the background, but when you're putting it on screen and it's really immersive, it can be a bit.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
I can
stuff.
understand. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I was trying for the sake of the panel
Here, I
It's
want to
like-
revise.
You
my
do that. I
previous-
appreciate it. It's good.
I want to revise my
Nice.
previous stance. To
Mhm.
play that game that Testicle was talking about, you have to put it like a thing on, and if you get hard, then you get put on the list.
Jesus
Oh, so you
Christ.
okay? So you like have a sensor down there, and then
Yeah.
if something you see on
Wow.
screen and you start
Thought
getting aroused.
police.
If
No,
you're
alright.
playing Night Trap and shaking
Well-
my head so people know I disapprove.
That would be that would become the game. It's like the
How do you
most
feel about
dangerous
that, Whick?
game. Can you play this game without triggering the fail state of getting put on a watch
Yeah.
list?
Like if
Right.
you get a boner, then
That's an
you're on a watch
egregious
list.
That's an egregious fail state. Hold
If
on.
you mess
Egregious
up,
fail state,
if you
yeah.
mess up, you go to jail, and then you become the victim.
Emphasis on
No,
calm.
that's weird.
The consequences
think
of
it's-
your
it's
Fuck
choices.
just- How we deal with art is odd. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I think that like we demonize so much that shouldn't be demonized. I think it's actually okay to allow a story or a game to portray horrific things. But when it comes to certain acts where you allow the player to participate in those acts and you give them free reign to participate in those acts, then it gets really dicey for me. So again, I'm fine with racism in video games. I would fine with being a racist in video games. But I think when it comes to being a torturer or a rapist in the game, again, it's fine to portray that happens in your story, but I don't think it's fine to allow the player to engage. Right.
Sure, maybe it's fine to portray it in it, but like, look, just a lot of people's engagement, okay, their mental engagement with video games can be very shit, okay. Sometimes we academize our media and we academize our terms that we use, right? And they have such a whole weight behind it, and maybe they have like this whole like artistic premise behind the reason or whatever, and it doesn't exist in a vacuum. But some people don't read into it like that, and they take away what they take away, and that's not wrong, but they might play it out in other facets of their lives. I don't know. That was a whole lot of nothing, but hopefully who gets it gets it.
Well, so there is a theory,
Mm.
and it sucks I'm bringing this up because I don't have like the paper in front of me. There's a theory that with the rise of, because I think since crime or violent criminality has been falling since the 90s, I want to say late 80s, early 90s, and one of those the hypothesis is because of the rise of violent video games and violent media that you're now providing like kind of an outlet to people who would otherwise maybe act out. I don't think it's a perfect one for one. It's very hard to like kind of connect that like causation, but you can compare the two on a graph, and it seems to kind of trend in that direction. At the very least, maybe you could say it's a contributing factor. Again, I haven't looked at the research in a while, but I
Yeah,
know that was like
I'd-
proposed. I don't know.
I'd want to see that because my take on that is that I feel like media hasn't gotten more violent in that time. At least since
that's a
like
good
the
point.
90s.
Movies
Like,
in the 80s were fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah,
Things
yeah,
have
and
gotten definitely
like,
more sexless.
It's like bread and games, right? It's like, but it literally games.
For me
yeah.
with video games, like the rise of violent video games. I mean,
Quick
sorry, go ahead.
question. Do you guys think that there is a relationship between the availability of like online porn and sexlessness in movies?
Sexlessness?
Yeah.
In movies?
Sexlessness in movies.
What does it mean?
Like,
What does that mean?
there's a good Substack that I read recently called
Yes.
"Everyone is Beautiful and No One
I
is
prefer
Horny."
medium myself.
Can barely hear you.
Hold on a minute.
No idea, but would be an interesting thing to study, I guess.
I
Yeah.
don't know about movies, but in shows at least, there's like it's almost
Yeah,
it's
it's
almost
definitely more on
predictable that you
TV.
will see a sex scene in the pilot of a new series. That there
So,
will be a sex scene.
I read this article by R.S. Benedict called "Everyone is Beautiful and No One is Horny." Modern action and superhero films fetishize the body even as they desexualize it.
Yeah, I don't know. I on its face, I would disagree, but I haven't read the article.
I would still say there's like a bit of engagement when you're seeing like a professional actress like in the nude or whatever. Like a porn star, you can watch like 500 videos of her, right? So, but when you see like someone who you don't often see as that, like perform a scene like that, then there is like a certain, I don't know, something capturing about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about like,
Especially when they're the now
It's-
Princess of England.
Like, did nobody think that like
True.
right?
Here, just as an example from the article that I
theory.
was talking about, like, did none of you think it was weird that in Christopher Nolan's Inception, they like went to the deepest level of like some rich dude's subconscious and like didn't find like a psychosexual Oedipal nightmare of like staggering depravity,
they
but
were
like
on a
a sea
mission.
patrol,
Because
but a
they
sea
were on a
Well,
mission,
it was more.
and the dream was created by an
But-
architect. All right, it wasn't like the person was just filling it with subconscious, but
Well,
the
it's not only
actual dream
that, but it
created by the
was.
architect.
But it was getting down to the core of that, and it was like what he really wanted the most, I believe, was his father's approval, which he felt like he never got. Right, like that was the ultimate thing in
so
the
it is
subconscious.
so it's an Electra syndrome. What's the opposite of Oedipus?
Oh, where your
Uh,
mom
I
fucks
don't know.
you?
No, that's just Pornhub. That's no. There's a Electra complex is where the daughter and father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
yes, I had to think about it for a second. It's been a while since I took a psychology class.
Wait. What do the Thorpes have to do with this? Too soon? Okay, my bad.
So if I could ask people on the panel,
I can change her. I can change Grace Thorpe.
If I could ask people on the panel, what are your thoughts on feminist frequency finally shutting down after 15 years?
Oh, I didn't know.
I
There
have
was
no
a.
thoughts.
My
I have no
problem isn't
opinion.
with the
Thoughts either,
messaging.
to
I
be
don't even know
honest.
what that is.
Of course, the messaging was dog shit.
That was
Absolutely.
I don't.
Somebody can
Messaging
somebody
is
explain
dog
this
shit, but I don't even
for
have
the
a
audience?
problem. Oh shit!
Oh wait, was that Anita Sarkeesian? Never mind. I
Yes.
stand.
So
I am Antifa Sarkeesian. That's me.
Based.
Can somebody
Like,
fill
That's
me in on
that's
that?
supporting or against? I don't know what that
I
joke
don't know.
was.
Hey,
a long
so-
time
I
ago.
don't either.
Go on.
I
Who's
think
going to give the
Jesse needs the
TLDR of Anita
background.
Sarkeesian?
Just
feminist
whatever
frequency?
feminist frequency is. Was this like a publication or
So,
like?
are
What-
you familiar with the name Anita Sarkeesian?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Infamous.
basically her website. I think 2013.
It was her. It was a
2014,
YouTube channel. She
program.
turned into a platform. Yeah, she tried to
Okay.
turn it into a platform. She tried to use Gamergate as a way to blow up upon it, even
Right.
though she didn't really contribute anything to it. And Gamergate is a whole different topic. But it was just the idea that like everything in video game is always sexist. You just have to, like, she made a famous quote: "Everything's sexist, racist, homophobic, and you have to point it all out." And the issue is that eventually, even certain studios try to work with her. Arcane for Dishonored 2, which became a very dog shit game, as well as Death of the Outsider, as well as Cyberpunk 2077. People were using her for input on games, and most of the time, anytime she was connected to a video game, it would be absolute ass. And most of her points just didn't make any sense. So
Wait,
that's just me.
Cyberpunk
I think,
2077's problems were all technical.
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying story wise. They said that, as I heard rumors, that's what some articles were saying. I'm not saying
Many
this is
people are
true.
saying. Many people are
You know?
saying this.
So
Yes,
Here's the
that's what many people
hard
are saying.
truth. Here's the hard truth. I think in the decade since, Anita Sarkeesian has been vindicated. Like the way the
absolutely.
industry has moved, the way our politics has shifted. Like people will look back at her as she was absolutely in the right.
Wait,
even
can
back
we?
in 2013.
I don't know. I don't know about
It was
that.
absolutely, no. Anita Sarkeesian was absolutely correct, and she even said, "Hey, games could be problematic, and you could still enjoy them. It's not like she probably still like enjoys like Tomb Raider."
There's
and
a
shit
My
like that.
problem is with like the amount of money they raised versus the like videos they created or whatever content they created. That
Well, again, it
ratio
wasn't
is
just
the
I'm lying on
biggest
that, but it was
problem
like,
more
look,
than the
she-
messaging.
but the other thing was people who played the games, that they were sexist, they were racist, they were homophobic.
She
when
was
that's not the case.
neurodivergent
Yeah,
and a
that
woman.
message-
She needed that money. No.
That was the beginning of a whole swath of messaging, and it was probably happening before then. That kind of like
Right.
alienated the people who you might want to turn, and I think that's
Yeah,
the
but-
real. That's like the real like
That's
general
always the real crux of
criticism
the
we can
story. It's
kind of
like,
make,
look, if you have
to be
activism in general.
100% honest, like
Sure.
okay, there's lots of holes in whatever arguments are, right? But
Okay.
I would have never played Call of Duty or anything because number one, I was shit at it, and number two, I knew if I was shit at it and I went on a public lobby, that would be called all kinds of shit, even without my face. Like they'll just read my accent and like
Howard.
yeah.
Sucking at something
Like,
is the
hey, man,
first
Yeah,
step.
that's-
that might be
something.
okay for you. It's not okay for everyone, you know. And
No,
there
and
might be
that
some
and
of you
that's
guys who are okay
fine.
with it. Like sure.
I want to be
But,
clear. If you don't want to be experiencing something that, like, again, you go into toxic Call of Duty lobbies, which I've been a part of for a long time, just existing in those fucking things, I get it, right? Like, the good thing about video games is that as a product, you're never forced to play, right? You're never forced to, like, you can never play unless you spend actual money on it, right?
but
Like,
it's
people
Call of
seem to
Duty
forget.
that's losing money too. So I'm just saying,
Which is
that-
great. That's good for them, right? If they're making a negatively bad product or they're festering a negative environment, it's good if they're losing money because that means if they don't change, they're done. That's a good
No.
thing.
I think there's two parts of this. So look, I don't know 𝕊𝖍𝖎 Sarkeesian like very well, and I actually don't
Mhm.
like the Gamergate stuff in general, and I probably wouldn't like 𝕊𝖍𝖎 Sarkeesian. Now, I think what I've heard of her critiques of games, I probably disagree with because I'm pretty open to art being art. What she says about the community, however, and what like you're saying about the community and Call of Duty and stuff, I actually agree with that stuff. I think the racism in online lobbyism, like that general toxicity, is bad, and it generally goes too far. Like, it's not funny, it's not in good company, and in general, it is alienating. And those points are completely correct. Those communities should fix themselves. That's not on the developer; it's on the communities themselves. But you can't fix people that don't want to be fixed.
Yeah,
And as
like
far
if
as
people need to change themselves, it can't be like the devs going out of their way to police anything. It has to be the
Well,
communities themselves, and if they don't want to do
well,
it, they don't want to do it. You get what I'm saying?
I think the devs should remove it from their games. However, the fact that it was there in the first place
No,
was not their fault. It's
I
on
would
you
absolutely
if you're
disagree with you.
calling
There's
people an
no
N-word in
there's
No,
no
like
like you
lobbies.
can't have a social experience and remove everything from the social experience. That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
That
see,
doesn't solve the problem.
Actually, I want to speak
Well,
to this directly.
you've
because
already
Nobody's
removed the
removing
physical
everything.
presence in
hold
the
up.
I
first
want to hear
place.
what testy.
L-
I want to
You're
hear
not
well,
testy.
removing
listen,
everything
Yeah, that's
from the
fine.
social experience.
No,
You're only
they've
removing
they have tried to address this. So the newest Call of Duty, because I've been playing the last couple of them, they have implemented some changes. If people can just report you for whatever the fuck. I don't have an offensive username. I got my username reported, and what happens is your microphone. I mean, I am a toxic piece of shit on occasion,
Paste.
but
Yes.
what happens is your microphone will be muted for 3 days at first, so you cannot chat in any voice lobbies. Or actually, sorry, the first step is every time you go into a lobby, you're muted by default. People have to
Yeah.
unmute mute because they just see saying, "Hey, this is a toxic person." Eventually, what they start doing is they start muting your microphone for 7 days, and eventually, what they start doing is they just start putting you in lobbies with all the other toxic pieces of shit. And I think that's like an okay solution.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
do too.
Oh,
That's
so I
yeah.
think that's
No,
really
no.
good. So what I think is there's
The
the whole
racist
idea of the
Thunderdome.
game. There's the whole idea of the game, and then there's the idea of the game you want to play or the game you're trying to play. I think the bad is the kind of like you trying to ruin other people's fun in games. I think that's probably one of the things that like
No,
because
that's
then
I
the
love that
game
so
that
much.
you want to play is markedly the game that other people don't want to play.
See,
And
the
I
problem,
think
the problem with this, the problem with this
play
thing,
is like really
Bungus,
important. You got to be
Bungus,
playing by the same rules,
some
like
people-
representatively.
to some people,
Okay.
you beating them in a game is taking away their fun,
Yes.
right?
And
And
is the-
that
absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
that
So I
that bar. I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a real life, true Whick lore story of how I got doxxed in 2010. You guys want to
shit.
hear
Everybody
how I
gather
got
around.
doxxed?
Were you
in
playing Black Ops?
2010?
You just
Were you
beat
killing
someone
somebody in
so bad.
Nuketown? What was going on
I
here?
was
You playing
playing
Nuketown?
a
He was play-
text-based RPG
on a
Gem-
text
The Oregon Trail?
called Gemstone. So
It was Animal Crossing, actually.
It was a fantasy game, right? Kind of like a D&D type game. Pretty popular. Like had 1,000 players, active players that would play on the regular. Pay to play, right? So you'd pay some money, subscription, you'd throw down. So they came out with they had strict rules for role playing and all that. They came out with a new server. Okay, and this server was a no rules server. You would be able to do, say, whatever you like. The names didn't have to be in lore, etc. You could murder other players, etc. And so I thought this would be fun to go in and just be a murderer and start a murder cult. So that's what I did. I started a murder cult, like a mafia, the Marlu Mafia, where we would basically kidnap people and say, unless you give us like silver, the in-game currency, we'll kill you. And if they didn't comply, we'd kill them a few times till they gave us money. I got death threats. I got people so angry at me, like, how dare you ruin my fun? Like, oh, it's a no rules server, kick rocks. And eventually they released, like, they got a hold of my parents, they got a hold of my sisters. They would find their workplaces and contact them. They
That's
went
awful.
crazy over this because I killed them in the video game over and over.
Wait.
And to be clear, I would make fun of them too. Like, I wouldn't use racist slurs or anything, but I'd just be like, it's a skill issue and shit like that, right? And I'd be like, nope, I don't care. I don't care. This is what I want to do, and this is what I'm doing. If you want to play without this, there's this other server over there. You can go play in there.
So
But yeah,
If it's a
eventually I
game
stopped
like-
playing
hold
because
on.
they
Okay,
they
but-
doxed me.
Hold
It's
up.
a game like FIFA or Call of Duty where like winning and losing
Jeez.
is the end game. Like that's kind of
Right,
shitty. Like
but
No,
player who
but wait,
loses
no,
just
Just
no.
really
But
quick.
here's the thing, right? But here's the thing, right? The biggest thing is that you got to understand if you've been in the Call of Duty sphere long enough, if people are talking shit, using slurs or whatever, you know what's the best way to shut them up? Absolutely dominating them. When you dominate them, they get so fucking quiet on the mic. It's not even a fucking joke. You get what
They
I'm
just
saying?
call me the
I
N-word
disagree.
more.
They'll cry
No.
more. That
Well,
said,
again,
that
it
said,
depends, right? Like if you're
I
playing
do-
ranked play or league play, sure, right? If you're playing lobbies, they'll still talk up their ass, but you know the satisfaction of destroying somebody, throwing slurs at you is so good.
Yeah, you can't
It's so
separate the
good.
toxicity. Those communities are toxic. People play them because they're toxic. So when I
guys-
gave my example and all those things, I actually fucking hate that. I wish that I understand it's an optical nightmare for the company, like Activision or whatever. Like I get why that makes your game look bad, and people are not ruining the experiences for people, trying to make it more inclusive. But people play those types of games because they are toxic. And anyone who's been playing these shooters for years and years and years, it is kind of an opt-in. Like you sort of know
Yeah.
what you're in for if you're going to be playing those types of games. I think Overwatch is another example that's really bad. Like I don't know what to say.
I mean, okay, so
and here's the
there's
best part.
games. There's games like Minecraft, right? All Nintendo games.
Mhm.
These companies go out of their way, like they'll ban YouTube channels if they find out like some creators like making toxic content using their game and stuff like that. And then like
Okay.
even creators come out and say like, hey, or if they find a toxic player in the community, they'll like call them out. They'll like basically say that these types of people will ruin this game for us. Like
Yeah,
that
that's
is
good.
basically
Yeah, but
community
here's the
managing
difference.
itself.
Time out. But here's the difference. You're talking about child-focused games. Nintendo, the entire platform is mainly focused towards children and young teens, right? I'm not saying adults don't play it. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But we're talking about when it comes to Call of Duties, when it comes to Overwatches, when it comes to Rainbow Six Siege, when it comes to most of the FPS culture, it's mostly going towards adults and going towards men, right? I'm not saying women don't play those games, but most of the people that are playing it are adults and, boys to
Saying
men.
women don't play those games.
Right.
Look,
And when it comes to boys and men and they're passionate about shit, trash talking is. You can look at any IRL sport where you have men on separate teams, trash talking commence. Regardless.
alright,
Now,
look.
again, I'm not saying slurs are okay, to be clear.
Yeah,
But trash talking happens. And the
I
best
think-
way to stop the trash talking is to shit on them. in the
I
game.
think trash talking is fine. All right.
Yeah.
I think trash talking with slurs is generally not fine. That said,
Agreed.
I do agree with the mute button. Like the fact that a lot of people just point out like you mute people. You absolutely should
Yeah.
mute people. If someone's under your
Yes.
skin, just mute them right away. That said, also if they're crossing the line, report them too. I have no problem.
Wait,
with
but
that.
TK, real quick.
Yeah.
But why not contact bully hunters? I forgot about that one, didn't ya? Okay, so
Well,
those
no,
who don't know,
look,
𝕬𝖎𝖙 Unicorn.
I have no problem telling them off myself. Like I will tell people
Yeah.
off in general.
But why not go to
However,
Zombie Unicorn's bully hunters?
I
though, right?
understand other people getting upset.
I don't know.
I don't
Hey,
know.
I'm
Look,
curious.
I don't need
What
to do
the
that.
fuck
I have
is
no
this
problem
bully
telling someone
hunting
off.
thing?
But
That
Okay,
sounds really
so
fun.
bully.
Group play.
So no, real quick. So what Bully Hunters is that this Twitch streamer, Zombie Unicorn, and a bunch of people came together to sell a bunch of SteelSeries headphones. And what they said is that, hey, if you're getting bullied online through voice chat and somebody's bothering you, why not contact one of our people? They'll jump into your game, talk shit to the other person, report them, and get them banned on your behalf. Instead of just hitting the mute button.
I don't like the brigading part. I don't
yeah,
like-
I have no idea what that is before.
Like,
Yeah, I don't like-
I will try to send. I'll drop it to you, Whick, and General in your Discord,
Please do.
so you can watch
Yeah.
the Bully Hunters event.
Hey,
It's funny how. It's
I don't know
funny
Hey,
about the
guys,
brigading
That was a
element,
joke
but
until it
like
was.
getting
Guys-
someone to give someone their
Oh,
comeuppance is
hey.
pretty based, but like not the like brigading mass reporting thing. That's kind of weird. But if they are breaking the terms of service, I mean, it does actually stand to reason that they should be not kind of like there.
Okay,
First
gang.
of all, hold up. But
Guys,
Wick,
the
you said something
mugshot's
to me
happening
ages
right
ago
now.
about your server. There was no rules. I just want to be clear. Like when you agree to the rules of a server, you agree to play a game by those rules. So
Yep.
I was just saying that that's whether or not you want to play that game, you subscribe to play that game anyway. That's
True.
just a skill issue.
And here's the
So-
best part:
but-
you
and-
don't
and
have
you-
to ever
and
play
it's-
those games again. You don't.
Yeah, but like Wick was saying that these people didn't want to play on his server. They didn't want to play the
It
same
wasn't
rules that
my
he was
server.
playing by.
It was a
which-
no rules
yeah, gotcha.
server, and so what it was basically a war for what the server would be, right? Because the community would enforce its own rules, and so I lost that war because they doxed me, and I wasn't gonna fuck with that, right? I just I'm like, nope, I'm done. It freaked me out. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna deal with this.
Well,
because
like,
these
that's the
people
thing,
are
they-
Of course.
super.
They sent
like,
the bully hunters onto it.
I
With super chats.
I don't know what it was like, but these people like this game. Okay, today It has 1,000 plus active players, like a text-based game in the year of our Lord 2023. When I cashed out of this game, I made $10,000
What?
selling my items and stuff. Like
Hey,
this is played.
$10,000
yes.
This
real
game
money?
is played
Careful
by
admitting that.
politicians. It's played by diplomats, like actual
What?
diplomats in
What
like
is this game?
it's Gemstone. It was it's
Jesus.
a role-playing game that again was free in the AOL days. Okay, talking like 90s AOL. So a whole generation of us gamers grew up on this, and some of us became streamers, failures like me, and some of them became actual like multimillionaires. Okay, and so this is a money game. It's Moneyball. People make money, make a living playing this game and selling these items to other players and things like that. And it's got a lot of influential people in a lot of influential places. It's weird. It's very
Oh
weird.
my god, this is the nerdiest shit ever. I'm looking it up right now.
It's interesting. Okay.
Well-
But anyway,
Mhm.
You
yeah.
had my
so
curiosity. Now you have my
a
attention.
lot of
so.
Based.
really tech savvy people played back then, and they were able to
Nice.
like mess with my tech and stuff like that. It was.
Don't lie. Someone of them was like,
That's
"I'm gonna
awful.
fight you," and then you said, "Come to my house," and you posted your real address.
And-
Not at
Jesus.
all. Anyway, but
Mhm.
gang, you aren't giving me money, and I'm tired, and this isn't what I plan to do. So
No,
unless
that's why, because I was here. So
I
nobody
know,
said
we-
I know. This
Wait,
is
can
like
we argue about
Ooh.
Vivek? Can we
Whoa,
argue
hold
about
up.
Vivek?
No,
You
Vivek
wanna
is
argue
everybody,
about
everybody vote for Vivek. Vivek 2024.
Based.
Project
What
Indian
do you want to
dominance
argue
is
about
coming first.
Vivek exactly?
I don't think he's gonna get the nomination. You said that you
Well,
think
Trump
the
is.
Republican.
Let's be clear. Trump's going to get the
Yeah.
nomination. I
Mhm.
agree with
Vivek-
that. But if Trump disappeared, I think Vivek has a real shot.
No,
Based.
Vivek doesn't have the conspiracy vote like Trump does.
Oh, he totally does.
What?
He was against like the climate change
No,
shit.
he's not.
Who doesn't want?
He's not.
But who doesn't
no.
want a younger person though? Right?
Well,
Like
Trump-
he's the
no,
youngest
Vivek-
person on the panel.
I'm not saying that he doesn't espouse conspiracy theories. He is not charismatic enough to be the center of a conspiracy theory the way that
Wait,
Donald Trump
do you think
is.
that's a prerequisite for like a nominee, or do you think that?
Yes,
you're just saying-
absolutely. For the
Wait,
modern
it-
Republican Party, yes.
Wait,
Oh,
so
okay.
more, why won't
You think
Vivek
most
win again?
Republicans
I need
are
to-
The
conspiracy theories?
Republicans
What to do.
have like a solid 35%. That is just the schizo vote. Okay, and Vivek does not have the energy to pull the schizo vote.
So if I
think
could
he already
ask,
is.
if
I don't know. His 9/11.
so,
comment,
if
Yeah.
Trump is like confirmed on the Republican
average
side, who's
person
confirmed on the
is weird
Democrat?
about 9/11. Like that. Honestly, the 9/11 thing made him more relatable to the average
No,
American. not less.
I think he'd have the conspiracy vote completely in the bag. I mean, it's already would
No.
be easy to say the FBI is going after him because they don't want to be shut down at
Yeah,
this
saying
point.
I want to get rid of the
Ooh.
FBI. Like I feel like
yeah,
that-
completely opens you up to
No.
the conspiracy vote.
No, seriously, I think this is where the racism pops in. See, Trump was able to like position himself as like the anti-pedo while being a pedo. I don't think that an Indian man could do that in America.
I don't know. Wait,
What do you think
no,
about
okay,
this,
okay,
Zephyr?
buddy?
Mm.
Okay.
Well, what I think about this is, if he fails, we'll come back with a better candidate until Project Indian colonialism is complete.
Yeah,
We already
Based.
have
Fair enough.
England.
Fair enough.
we got England. Yeah, everybody vote for Vivek. We need more brown
Okay.
people in.
Ooh.
Somebody in chat said,
Even
"When
we'll
was
get
Trump
better
ever a
candidate, all
pedo?"
right? Eventually, we will get you.
Okay, so here's the deal, gang. Here's what's going on. So I'm gonna end stream now because gang, this was a scuffed. It was fun discussion. Thanks, gang, for sticking it out with me today. Thank you for
No
the
problem.
raids. I really appreciate them. I wish my content had showed up, but you know, it is what it is. Tomorrow we're going to have Eucharist. We're gonna have Brittany Simon. We're gonna have Erudite. We're gonna have Lawson Harris. We're gonna have Corey Campbell. We're gonna have Miss Millie. We're gonna be talking about maids, medical assistant death. Government
Erudite has
assistant
been
Wait,
dodging.
do you have any Canadians on that?
Erudite is dodging
Corey,
who?
Erudite.
Okay, cool. No, just making sure.
Sure.
Canadian representation. All right.
Canadians will be well represented. I have a lot of Canadians. Anyway,
Based.
but
Not weird.
check it out tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. It'll be great. It'll be a great discussion. And I'll see you guys later.
Oh my
We're gonna
God.
All
raid
right,
out.
Wick.
Wick,
Tell Brittany
and
Simon I said hi.
What platforms can they find this on?
They can find this on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. Twitch.com/WhickTV. YouTube.com/@Whick-TV. Kick.com/WhickTV. Check us out. Hooray. And give me money. And gang, You can be a member in my YouTube now. Why not be a member? Okay?
Yeah.
You can join my
Be a
membership.
member. Join.
Hold on, Wick, are you seriously not going to stream while the mugshot comes out?
When's that coming out?
Like right now?
Whoa.
Like
It
right
is?
now?
Like he
Cap.
just pulled up to the jail. In
Nah, no
Logan
shot.
County. No, like
Let's
3 minutes
go.
ago from CNN.
Yeah, 𝕍𝖎, our first member. Thank you, buddy. Tier 1
Let's go.
membership.
CNN, let me look.
It's cheap. It's only $3.
Cleaner.
$3, people. Let's
I'll pay you
go.
more when
Let's
there's more
go.
members only content.
I
Yeah,
will be making members only content as soon as I get more members. So, yeah.
Yeah, the mugshot's supposed to come
CNN
out
is
in
not
the next
showing.
10 to 20 minutes.
I mean, like, what? Okay, fair enough. Like, why would I stream during? Like, I just don't understand. Like, would I just show it on stream?
You don't want to
Oh,
stream during U.S. history? You don't want to potentially be in
I'll tweet about it.
The US history
There's going to be
awesome.
your stream will be put in the cyber books of the future, where
True.
they'll be like, this
Full stream
was
Q&A for members only.
this was
True.
future like dictator Wicks like. This was his reaction to the Trump thing before he got arrested for being the cyber war criminal in 2060.
Oh, true. Earning thousands of dollars off.
It's the first day for the rest of your life, Wick. What do you want to do?
Yeah, Wick, come
I
on.
just
You're gonna
don't
make
know
dozens of
why-
dollars.
No, I'm going to make $0. Honestly, like I don't know why. Like everyone's going to watch I'm Really Important, and they should because he's more political.
Let's all
than I am,
hold
but-
hands and watch American history happen.
I think
Would you
Wick,
have not streamed during 9/11?
No, let me.
I'm working on a video review for a
I don't-
game, so I have
actually,
time.
That is a good question, but out of respect, like you probably wouldn't. But no, okay. Here's my thing. I think Wick, he's probably a little bit bummed. Like the main content kind of didn't show up. I'm more than happy to step in and save.
I
the
think he
day.
just wants
I
to play
think
your
we all
favorite
were.
game, Testicle, the one you made and marketed.
the one I made and developed in years. No, I get it. It's cool, Wick.
Well, what I want to do
you
is
can-
eat. I haven't eaten today. I need food. So that's what
Look,
I'm going.
you can go make food. I will entertain everything.
I don't
while
trust.
you-
Oh, I actually had a nightmare.
I won't
last night.
read any.
I had a
was gonna
nightmare.
say
Let
that.
me
Yeah,
tell you about my
Curtis,
nightmare. Let me tell you about
I
my
mean, we
nightmare.
can keep it video game
Okay,
shit if you
so
want.
what happened? I was streaming in my nightmare. I was streaming and I fell asleep during stream, and I had somehow changed the perms on my channels or something so anyone could hop in. And so I remember waking up to the Thorpes in my chat running my stream, and they had all sorts of weirdos on. They had come to my house, okay, in Dream Logic, how this works, right?
I want to talk
Nice.
to the
They had come
Thorpes.
to my house, and I
Mostly just Grace.
and it was like my stream was getting banned. Like I knew my stream was getting banned, and I was trying desperately to figure out how to not get it banned, because of the shit they were doing on stream. And so I was trying. That was my nightmare. I
What
don't
were they
remember all
doing?
the
Each
details,
other?
but that was the nightmare. So
Were they just having like It's Always Sunny style orgy thing?
I don't quite remember what they were doing, but I knew like I could sense in the way you just know things in dreams that my stream was getting banned, and so I had to stop it.
Wick, do you think I could change Grace? I think I could.
No, I
Do you want
don't
to
think-
actually change her? Do you want to actually change her or just change her for one night? And then
Okay, I think that
My
Ellen,
God.
Ellen,
I'm
you
the
can-
Riz Lord.
You won't change things for the
Okay.
better. She doesn't need.
Damn.
I didn't.
She
I
has
didn't
enough
say I
dick
was
in
going
her
to.
life. She has enough dick in her
Based.
life.
It's
Okay.
not about that.
She doesn't
Yeah, hey,
need
Wick?
any
Disavow,
more of that.
disavow.
Wick, thank you for having
I
me.
have
I'm
I
gonna
have
bail.
more cigarettes than her dad.
See you later.
Okay, bye.
Oh,
Okay.
I will also leave, but let me just say, okay, I came here to talk about your RP take, and I never got to say it, Wick.
You
So
never
another
did.
time, okay, I'm gonna put you on blast for it. Be prepared.
We're gonna
GMs
right
should be able to fudge their roles.
No.
Okay.
We're going. That's disrespectful to the players. We're going to I'm Really Important. See you guys later.
Bye.
Catch you later.